Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Unstoppable God. Start from adding attribute points infinitely. Chapter 1. Boom. Pattering. There was lightning and thunder, and rain continued to drip down the eaves. The water droplets hit the stone floor, shattering and splashing, like big beads and small beads falling on a jade plate, making a clear and sweet sound. In the room under the eaves, a boy, less than 10 years old, with a pale complexion, was lying on a simple wooden bed, wrapped in a washed white quilt. In a corner of the room, next to the stove, a thin girl stood up. The arc flashed, and the dim light spilled in from the broken window and fell on her body. She was 1.6 meters tall, with fair skin, a childish face, and a slightly delicate look. She was wearing a set of gray linen clothes. She ignored the sweat on her forehead and carefully poured the concoction brewed on the stove into the pottery bowl that had been prepared, and then hurriedly came to the bed. Xiaoyun, the medicine is ready. You will feel better soon after drinking the medicine. The girl gently blew on the concoction in the spoon, then tremblingly put it into the boy's mouth and whispered. At this moment, a stream of light streaked across the sky. The stream of light was bright and fragrant, covering the flashing thunder and lightning in the sky, and actually illuminated the gray and dark sky as bright as day. Drink the medicine, Anne, drink the medicine. The girl was worried that the medicine could not reach her brother's stomach. She did not notice that a spiritual light flew into the room and disappeared into the eyebrows of the young man on the bed. Gu. The boy's throat moved slightly as the medicine went into his stomach, and then the girl's voice of surprise and excitement came from the room. Younger brother. Lu Yun only felt a stinging and numbness all over his body, as if his whole body's bones and flesh were separated. Along with this indescribable pain, he gradually felt a messy message that gradually integrated into his consciousness. Lingxi Village. Yunmeng Mountain. In a dilapidated room, Lu Yun woke up leisurely. In an instant, a wave of intermittent memories flooded into his mind, strange and familiar. For a long time, the memory slowly digested, and Lu Yun's heart suddenly became filled with mixed emotions. Excitement, worry, fear. Time travel has always been a legend. I never thought it would happen to me today. Now that he has come, he will make peace with it. Lu Yun quickly accepted the fact that his soul had penetrated. Coincidentally, the person whose soul he penetrated was also named Lu Yun. According to the memory in my mind, this is a world of martial arts, with sectarian disputes, aristocratic families fighting for each other, state capital battles, and bandits running rampant. There are even monsters that occasionally launch beast tides to cause chaos in the world. But the original person was an ordinary young man from a village with a weak constitution. After a serious illness, his consciousness disappeared and was replaced by Lu Yun. What a magical world! Lu Yun slowly stood up and was about to get out of bed when the door suddenly creaked open and a thin figure appeared in his eyes. Xiaoyun. Excited, the girl immediately ran over and hugged Lu Yun tightly, her eyes moist. Xiaoyun, you finally woke up. If you don't wake up, my sister won't know what to do. Sister. Lu Yun murmured softly. He could feel the excited trembling of the girl's body and the truest emotions from deep in his heart. He knew that from now on, he would bear all the causes and effects of this body. Sister, please be gentle, I can hardly breathe. Soon, Lu Yun realized something was wrong. Excited, his sister Lu Yu hugged him tighter and tighter, almost making him breathless. This body was already weak and he was just recovering from a serious illness. Naturally, he couldn't help it, so Lu Yun had to wake up from his meditation. It's all my fault. I was too excited at the moment. Don't worry about it, Anne. After Lu Yu let go of Lu Yun, he saw that his face was pale, his breathing was a little short, and he was worried. It's okay, you can just cultivate for a while. Sister, don't worry, Lu Yun explained. It's all my fault that eldest brother and I didn't take good care of you. Lu Yu stood up and opened the window. The sunlight poured in and instantly illuminated the entire room. Bathed in the warm radiance, Lu Yun's body became warm. My body is always like this. Over the years, I have relied on Big Brother and you to run and take care of me, so I can persist. Now, I am very satisfied. Lu Yun comforted me with a smile. A small beast wave 10 years ago affected Yunshui County and surrounding counties, and Lingxi Village was also severely damaged. Father Lu, as a member of the village's animal hunting team, died tragically under the iron hoof of the monster. Mother Lu, who was pregnant in 10 months, had a fetal abnormality during that disaster and was seriously injured. After giving birth to Lu Yun ahead of schedule, she passed away. Lu Yun, on the other hand, was born with deficiencies due to fetal movement, and has been frail and sickly since birth. My sister Lu Yu was only 4 or 5 years old at that time. The eldest brother, Lu He, became the mainstay of the family when he was less than 8 years old. Although the eldest brother and sister loved Lu Yun very much and wanted to keep every good thing for him, they could not do anything about his congenital deficiencies and frail body. It can be said that Lu Yun was very lucky to live to be 10 years old. Sister, where is eldest brother? Why didn't you see him? Lu Yun's face changed. Brother, he has taken part in the hunting team assessment. As long as he passes the assessment, he can become a member of the hunting team. By then, our family's life will be improved. After saying this, Lu Yu's face clearly felt a little relaxed. She looked forward to her future life. The younger brother wakes up, the older brother joins the hunting team, and everything seems to be developing in a good direction. Hunting team. Lu Yun's face showed expectation. The hunting team is the guardian force of Lingxi village, and every member of it is a powerful warrior. They have the most powerful power and enjoy the best treatment. Unfortunately, all this has nothing to do with Lu Yun. He is born with deficiencies and weak body. It is more than 10 times more difficult for him to become a warrior than for ordinary people. After traveling to such a martial arts world, I, Lu Yun, am still a mediocre person. Lu Yun couldn't help but feel sad. Xiao Yun, this is a soup made from blood ginseng, which will help your body recover. Lu Yu poured the medicine juice boiled on the stove into the bowl and handed it over. Lu Yun hesitated for a moment, and finally took it with both hands. He used to drink this blood ginseng soup frequently, but the effect was just like that, treating the symptoms but not the root cause, and barely maintaining life. In order to reduce the burden on his family, he began to refuse to take it a year ago. Now Lu Yun has a new soul, so he naturally won't refuse. He doesn't want to miss any hope after living a new life. After drinking the ginseng soup in the bowl, Lu Yun's eyes flashed, and a light curtain appeared in his vision. Energy points. Plus 1.1. What the hell is going on? The line of words just now flashed by, but Lu Yun saw it clearly. Is this my golden finger? It can convert blood ginseng soup into energy points to help improve the skills or martial arts. What happened just now was completely beyond his cognition. He could only use the golden finger possessed by the time traveler to explain it all. Coming back to his senses, he subconsciously looked at the bowl in his hand, only to see that there was only a trace of residual liquid left in it. He quickly stretched out his tongue to lick it clean. To his disappointment, the previous scene did not happen again. Is it too little? Lu Yun secretly regretted it. Xiao Yu, good news, I passed the assessment and officially became a member of the hunting team. Just as Lu Yun was studying the words that suddenly appeared just now, an excited voice came into his ears. Hearing this voice, Lu Yun and Lu Yu were stunned at the same time, and then looked towards the door. At this time, a burly man was walking from outside. The man was wearing a black coat, with a big knife on his waist, and a sun hat on his head, covering half of his face, revealing only a pair of sharp and mature eyes, and holding a bag in his right hand. Before entering the door, he hung the bag on the wall, untied the hat rope, took off the hat, and revealed a sunny and handsome face. This is Lu He, Lu Yun's elder brother. When Lu He entered the door and saw Lu Yun waking up, he was stunned at first, then overjoyed, and said excitedly, Xiao. Xiao Yun woke up. When did this happen? Just woke up not long ago, brother, you came back at the right time. Lu Yu replied on the side. It's good that he woke up, it's good that he woke up. Lu He's eyes were wet, and he said, today is a double happiness, we have to celebrate well, and I happen to get a piece of beast meat, so that Xiao Yun can replenish his body. There is beast meat. Lu Yu was surprised. Well, the reward for passing the assessment today and joining the hunting team is in the bag outside the door, about 10 kilograms. Okay, I'll go cook now. After Lu Yu left home, only Lu Yun and Lu He were left in the room. Brother, I want to learn martial arts. Lu Yun spoke first, breaking the silence. Haha, you want to learn martial arts, that's great. Lu He smiled and said, when you get well, let your peers in the village practice martial arts together. No, I want to practice martial arts from now on. I have a hunch that only by becoming a warrior can my body return to normal. Lu Yun was firm and resolute. As soon as he said this, the smile on Lu He's face froze. He was about to refuse, but looking at his brother's eyes, he couldn't bear to say it. That look was full of pleading, expectation, and perseverance. How could he refuse? He loved this family, his sister, and this unfortunate brother, so he couldn't refuse. With your current physique and blood, it is very difficult to become a warrior. Do you know that? Lu He looked at Lu Yun with a serious look on his face. It's okay, big brother, just teach me. After discovering that he suspected he had a golden finger, Lu Yun was full of confidence. Lu He pondered for a while and agreed readily. Well, you have suffered over the years. Even if you can't become a warrior in a short time, I will gradually help you replenish your blood, make up for your congenital deficiencies, and improve your body. However, Xiao Yun, I have something to tell you clearly. Brother, please speak, Lu Yun said seriously. Lu He touched his beardless chin and said in a deep voice. I don't know why you have the heart to practice martial arts. I think it's because of this serious illness. However, practicing martial arts is not a one-time thing, but a process of continuous accumulation. For you, this process will be more continuous and long-lasting. I hope you don't give up, at least you have to become a formal warrior. Well, I understand. Lu Yun nodded seriously. It's good to understand. Lu He thought for a moment, then took out a booklet from his arms. The booklet was wrapped in a thick layer of gray cloth. He opened it carefully and exposed the innermost layer. There were a few big words on the surface of the booklet. Wind-breaking sword technique. Although Lu Yun's predecessor was weak since childhood, he had also attended the village school and had no problem in reading and writing. Although this is just a superficial sword technique, it can barely be regarded as a third-rate secret book. It not only has detailed instructions, but also detailed posture diagrams. You can try to practice it yourself first. If you don't understand or have any doubts, you can ask me. Lu He carefully handed the booklet to Lu Yun. Thank you, big brother. After taking the booklet, he couldn't wait to open it and started to look through it. Wind-breaking sword technique, only 3 moves. All 3 moves are offensive. No defense, no dodge, all offensive. Attack is the best defense. This is the core of wind-breaking sword technique. The first move is to sweep away thousands of troops. The second move breaks all the mountains. The third move shakes the universe. Although there are only 3 moves, each move includes basic sword styles such as chopping, slashing, lifting, chopping, picking, cutting, pushing, stabbing, sliding, stirring, collapsing, tapping, and pulling. The 3 moves of the wind-breaking sword technique have different orders and different trajectories, and the power they exert is also different. Lu Yun took a quick look and barely knew the general idea. But this does not mean that the wind-breaking sword technique is simple and can be mastered. To play each move, you need a certain level of proficiency, sufficient strength, and sufficient speed. Proficiency can be gradually improved by practicing slowly according to the postures in the booklet. Strength and speed are based on physical fitness. Therefore, the wind-breaking sword technique also has a matching tempering mind method. The so-called tempering mind method is to temper the body and improve physical fitness, so that there is enough strength and speed to perform the sword technique. This tempering mind method has no official name and is very ordinary. There are 3 levels, corresponding to 3 moves of the wind-breaking sword technique. According to the booklet, only when the sword technique and the tempering method are practiced at the same time, the wind-breaking sword technique can be considered a small success. To achieve great success, you need to reach a certain level of proficiency. When you practice to perfection, you can become a warrior. Lu Yun suppressed his excitement and read every word in the booklet repeatedly, striving to remember all the moves of the wind-breaking sword technique as quickly as possible. About half an hour later, he finally remembered all of them in his mind and kept analyzing the difficulties of practice. Then, his mind sank, and suddenly a transparent and illusory panel appeared in front of him. A transparent border, an illusory interface, and 2 lines of small black characters appeared on it. Wind-breaking sword technique. Not entry level, 0%. Energy points, 1.1. Lu Yun's mind moved, and the transparent illusory panel that had appeared disappeared. He moved his mind and it appeared again. I guessed it right. Lu Yun was overjoyed. He finally saw the light and saw hope. He stopped hesitating and focused on the wind-breaking sword technique, imagining a light tap. Boom. He had a part of memory in his mind. In his memory, he practiced the wind-breaking sword technique day and night, and his wind-breaking sword technique improved day by day. At the same time, a warm current gushed out from his heart and continued to flow to his whole body. Lu Yun felt extremely comfortable, like bathing in a hot spring, relieving fatigue and comforting. At the same time, he also felt that his originally weak body seemed to have undergone some subtle changes in an instant. He immediately moved his mind and summoned the panel. Wind-breaking sword technique. Entry level 10%. Energy points 0.1. After adding points to upgrade the broken wind sword skill to the entry level, Lu Yun felt that his physical fitness had improved a lot, and he was no longer as weak as before. So he took advantage of the time when the meal was not ready to go to the courtyard to practice the sword skills. He still followed the posture in the secret book in his mind and waved the sword according to the diagram. This sword was a bit worn out, and a gap could still be seen on the blade. It was eliminated from Lu He's hands. He waved one sword after another. His body, after adding points, was improved, but it still seemed a little insufficient, and his speed and strength were obviously not good. Moreover, the sword skills had just entered the entry level, so he could only barely perform the first style of the broken wind sword skill according to the posture. If he wanted to fight and defeat the enemy with this, he still needed a lot of heat. But even so, Lu Yun was still excited for a while. Half an hour later, he stopped practicing the sword skills due to lack of physical strength. Wind-breaking sword skill. Entry level 11%. Wind-breaking sword skill has improved by 1%, which is a bit unexpected. Lu Yun narrowed his eyes and looked at the interface in front of him, a little absent-minded. At this time, his stomach made a rumbling sound and a strong feeling of hunger came. Lu Yun was stunned. I just improved so much, and I improved wind-breaking sword skill to the entry level in one fell swoop, but I didn't feel hungry. Why am I so hungry now? Could it be that the martial arts I improved during my practice need to consume my own energy? Just then, Lu Yu's voice came from the house, calling for dinner. Lu Yun rushed in and wolfed down the rice in the bowl. Then, under the shocked eyes of Lu He and Lu Yu, he finished all the dishes on the table, including the 2 large bowls of beast meat, and finally filled his stomach. After eating and drinking, Lu Yun couldn't help but narrow his eyes, with a bulging belly, full of satisfaction. Lu Yu had no choice but to put down his chopsticks and cook again. It doesn't matter to her, she can just deal with it casually, but Lu He is a warrior, he needs to practice martial arts, which consumes a lot of energy, so he needs to redo it. Brother, what happened to Xiaoyun today? Is there something wrong? After Lu Yun went out, Lu Yu was a little worried. Lu Yun's wolfing down just now really shocked her. After coming to her senses, she was more worried. He practiced swordsmanship all afternoon today, which consumed a lot of energy. He should be fine, Lu He said casually. In fact, he was a little uncertain in his heart. Quiet night, the stars are bright. Lying on the bed, Lu Yun looked at the illusory panel in front of him and fell into deep thought. Breaking wind swordsmanship. Entry 11%. Energy points 0.3. Although the beast meat can increase energy points, the energy contained is relatively small, and it only increases his energy by 0.2 energy points. Maybe other foods also contain energy, but it is probably very small. Even in a year or two, it may not be possible to accumulate half an energy point. Blood ginseng soup can give him more than 1 energy point, which means that blood ginseng contains the most energy. However, with his family's conditions, they can only afford 1 blood ginseng in a month, and for this reason, it has even greatly delayed Lu He's martial arts progress, otherwise he could have joined the hunting team long ago. It seems that the best way to get energy points is to eat beast meat. As a member of the Big Brother hunting team, beast meat is distributed every day. Lu Yun nodded secretly and fell asleep soon. In the following time, Lu Yun practiced swordsmanship in the morning and mental skills in the afternoon. Although he did not add points, he could obviously feel the improvement of swordsmanship. His body was also slowly recovering. Muscles slowly grew on his arms, legs and back, gradually supporting his originally thin body. With the improvement of physical fitness, his appetite became larger and larger. He ate more for each of his 3 meals a day than Lu He and Lu Yu combined. After 7 days, Lu Yun gradually became stronger and was not inferior to his peers. He had memorized the secret manual of the broken wind sword technique by heart, so he returned it to Lu He in its entirety. Lu He did not say anything to him. He casually asked about Lu Yun's progress in cultivation and then hurried out. The members of the hunting team had a heavy task. They not only had to hunt, but also had to patrol the village and protect the safety of the villagers. Since there was no land at home and no need to work in the fields, after dinner, Lu Yu picked up Lu He and Lu Yun's clothes and went out with several girls from the neighborhood. A small river flows from the east of the village. Since the village was established, this river has never dried up. Most of the names of Lingxi village come from this. Today the sun is shining, and dozens of young girls and young women are washing clothes by the river, occasionally making playful sounds. In the Yunmeng Mountains, a slender boy with immature features walked forward cautiously. It was Lu Yun. During this period of time, after daily hard training, he improved the wind-breaking sword technique to 20% and accumulated 2.3 energy points. However, he always felt that the speed was a bit slow. If he continued like this, it would take at least several years to practice the wind-breaking sword technique to perfection. In order to greatly shorten the time, he could only take risks and look for spiritual medicine. In fact, this was his first time entering Yunmeng Mountain. The endless mountains and the endless forests were far beyond his imagination. However, he had already come here and could not retreat, and he did not intend to retreat. Now he was no longer the skinny child. Moreover, he had something to rely on. Tightening the broken knife in his hand gave him a sense of security. Although my strength has improved, I still have to be careful. It is rumored that there are powerful monsters in the depths of the mountains. I can't go deep. I can just walk around the periphery. The main purpose of my trip is to find some low-level spiritual medicines. After Lu Yun re-established his goal, his steps became easier. What is that? After walking through the forest for half an hour, Lu Yun's eyes were suddenly attracted by a fiery red ginseng. Among a pile of tender green weeds, the blood-red ginseng was particularly conspicuous, especially with the breeze blowing, the green grass swaying, making it stand out even more. It's a blood ginseng. Judging from its size, its age is much older than any of the ones I took before. It was not destroyed by other beasts. I am lucky. At this time, Lu Yun suppressed his excitement and did not pick it immediately. He always remembered that this was the outskirts of Yunmeng Mountain. Although there were no powerful monsters, there were certainly many fierce beasts, and there were also many poisonous insects and poisonous plants. If he was not careful, he would die on the spot. Lu Yun was very cautious and cherished his life. He picked up a stone on the spot and threw it towards the blood ginseng. Bang! The breeze blew, the leaves swayed, and there was no movement. Pick it quickly, and then leave quickly. Lu Yun made a quick decision and trotted over. He gently pushed aside the weeds and carefully pulled up the whole blood ginseng by the roots. This blood ginseng is as big as the 2 or 3 plants I came here before. After taking it, I can get at least 2 or 3 energy points. Even if I don't get anything next, it's worth the trip. Lu Yun silently calculated in his heart. He put away the blood ginseng and was about to turn around and leave. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from behind. Not good. Lu Yun was shocked and instantly pulled out the broken knife from his waist and turned around to look. Not far away, he saw a pitch-black wolf approaching, with a pair of cruel and cunning eyes silently sizing him. Without any hesitation, Lu Yun immediately turned around and ran away. If it were an ordinary beast, he would be sure to fight it, but this black wolf gave him strong pressure and he was not sure of defeating it. Moreover, the wolf is a social animal. If he is dragged down by it and other wolves catch up, he will only die. Sure enough, it is still a bit risky to rush into the mountains. As Lu Yun ran, he looked back, hoping that the black wolf would not catch up. However, he was disappointed. The black wolf obviously regarded Lu Yun as its prey and was not going to give up, chasing after him. Fortunately, from beginning to end, the number of black wolves did not increase. There was only one. Lu Yun should be ignored because of his young age. The black wolf often hunts in the mountains and has developed strong limbs. He is very comfortable running in the forest. He can cover several feet in one jump and quickly closes the distance between him and Lu Yun. If this continues, I'm afraid we'll be caught up soon, so we have to think of a way. Listening to the footsteps and rapid breathing of the pursuers getting closer and closer, Lu Yun's expression became more solemn. At the same time, his brain was working rapidly, thinking of ways to solve the current crisis. If my sword skills are perfect, I might be able to fight. Lu Yun looked thoughtful. As the black wolf behind got closer and closer, the sense of crisis became stronger and stronger, and Lu Yun finally no longer hesitated. Add some wind-breaking sword technique. Lu Yun whispered in his mind. As soon as he finished speaking, an illusory panel suddenly appeared in his field of vision. Broken wind sword technique. Getting started 50%. Energy points 1.3. The progress of practicing the breaking wind sword technique suddenly increased to 50%, which is equivalent to a 30% improvement in 1 point. The speed is not unpleasant, but it is still far from reaching a small success. Keep adding more. As soon as he finished speaking, the 2 lines of words on the panel became illusory for a while and then returned to reality. Broken wind sword technique. Getting started 80%. Energy points 0.3. No, it's still a little far away from Xiaocheng. Lu Yun gritted his teeth, then put the blood ginseng he just got into his mouth and devoured it. Soon, we saw the energy points rising crazily. Energy points plus 0.5, energy points plus 0.3. Energy points plus 0.2, energy points plus 0.1. After about half an hour, the blood ginseng was completely consumed. At this time, the energy point broke through a level that had never been seen before, reaching 5.1 all of a sudden. Before he could be happy, Lu Yun felt a coldness coming from behind him. The hair on his body stood up in shock, and he immediately threw himself into the weeds on the left side. He Lang missed the target but was not discouraged at all. He stood up again and followed Lu Yun closely, showing great patience. In its eyes, Lu Yun seemed to be a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, unable to escape its wolf claws. Just when Lu Yun's physical strength is reduced and his combat effectiveness is reduced, it will be the time for it to launch another fierce attack. Time passed by minute. Add a bit. At this moment, Lu Yun felt a numbness surging throughout his body, like ants swimming, and it was unbearably itchy. Immediately afterwards, I felt a warm current welling up from my heart, which was in close contact with the previous numbness, and soon gained the upper hand, and a sense of comfort soon spread throughout my body. Lu Yun also found that the fatigue on his body due to running for a long time slowed down instantly, and at the same time, his speed also increased to a higher level. Broken wind sword technique. Small success 2%. Energy points 4.1. His eyes fell on the transparent illusory panel that reappeared. Seeing the broken wind knife technique that had been completed, the corners of his mouth curved slightly. When we meet on a narrow road, the brave wins. It's my turn to take action. Lu Yun stopped suddenly, turned around, and frightened the chasing black wolf to a halt. But soon, a gleam of light emerged from its narrow eyes. Although it has not become a spirit, its intelligence is not inferior to that of an adult human. His long-term hunting has led him to draw a conclusion. The prey is not ready to escape, but is ready to fight to the death, but it does not take it seriously. After chasing this human for so long, he was already tired. After taking a deep look at He Lang and feeling his spiritual gaze, Lu Yun took a deep breath and pressed the handle of the knife tightly. At this time, the black wolf also completed the final test, and the muscles in its limbs and abdomen began to stir. Then, a powerful force burst out and turned into a black shadow and rushed over. Lu Yun said in a deep voice, and gently released his right hand holding the handle of the knife, and suddenly pulled out the long knife at his waist. For a while, the moves and key points of the breaking wind sword technique echoed in his mind. The first style of the breaking wind sword technique swept through thousands of armies. Poof! Blood splattered. The black wolf howled and tried to struggle to get up, but his left limb was cut off and his abdomen was bleeding. He had no choice but to struggle in place, his eyes looking at him with a very human look, as if he was begging for mercy. Lu Yun showed a cruel look on his face, and he exerted force suddenly, and his head flew up high. This is dead. Lu Yun's tense nerves finally calmed down. He glanced at the corpse at his feet and suddenly felt that the wolf was not that scary, it was just a matter of 1 or 2 swords. However, he quickly shook his head. Compared to the cruel natural laws in the forest, the natural laws of the human world outside are even more terrifying. Maybe the other party was a lamb to be slaughtered one moment, but there is no guarantee that it will not turn into a terrifying tiger the next moment. Don't be careless. What's more, I'm just a weak teenager, not even a warrior. Quote. Lu Yun chopped the wolf corpse again, cutting it in half. This is also my first prey, so it can't be wasted. Immediately, Lu Yun put away his long knife, carried the half of the corpse, and left quickly. Although he successfully killed the black wolf, Lu Yun did not forget that he was in Yunmeng Mountain now, and there might be more wild beasts hiding around, including jackals, tigers, and leopards. And the place where he was full of blood, which could attract terrible wild beasts at any time. Without any stay, Lu Yun quickly disappeared from the spot. Sure enough, just after leaving, Lu Yun heard rustling sounds from behind, followed by roars. That was the sound of wolves howling. Judging from the howling of wolves this time, there were at least a dozen wolves. Lu Yun was glad that he ran fast, otherwise if he was surrounded by wolves, he would not be able to escape even if he had mastered the swordsmanship. Lu Yun, whose strength had broken through again, was not much slower than before entering the mountain even though he was carrying half a wolf corpse. By the stream, young women and girls who were washing clothes suddenly saw a head emerging from the dense forest and slowly entering their sight. Hey, Sister Lu, is that your Lu Yun? It really is, but how did he come out of Yunmeng Mountain, and he was carrying the corpse of a wild beast on his body? My Xiao Yun is in poor health, it can't be. Lu Yu stopped what she was doing, looked up, and her voice stopped immediately. Xiao Yun, have you mastered the swordsmanship? At dinner, Lu He, who had been silent for a long time, asked seriously. Now, he finally accepted the fact that Lu Yun entered Yunmeng Mountain and brought back half a wolf corpse. At first, when Lu Yu told him about this, he didn't believe it. In his opinion, Lu Yun had only practiced the swordsmanship for less than half a month, and he was born with deficiencies, so it was impossible for him to achieve any results in martial arts. However, after seeing the wolf corpse, he couldn't help but believe it. I may have a good talent. I mastered it while practicing, and even my body recovered. Lu Yun replied slowly. If I had known earlier, I should have let you practice martial arts, and you wouldn't have been tortured for so long. After hearing Lu Yun say that his body had recovered, Lu Yu was obviously happier, and hurriedly put 2 pieces of meat into Lu Yun's bowl, and said softly, but even if your body has recovered, don't run to Yunmeng Mountain. It's very dangerous there. If something happens to you, what will my brother and I do? I know, sister. Lu Yun agreed. He didn't want his brother and sister to know that he went into the mountain to find elixirs, otherwise he would have to be lectured. Lu He suddenly put down his chopsticks and said to Lu Yun, Xiao Yun, since you have practiced the broken wind sword technique to the entry level in less than half a month, it proves that your martial arts talent is much stronger than mine. Next, you should practice well, and leave the housework to Xiao Yu and me. Well, I listened to my brother. Lu Yun still agreed, but he thought in his heart that he would go quietly in the future and not let others see it. It is impossible to practice hard at home. Even if he agreed, his golden finger would not agree. I'm done eating, I'll go back to my room first. After a brief exchange, Lu Yun returned to his room. Xiao Yun is a much more mature child. After Lu Yun left, Lu Yu's smile gradually appeared on her face. Over the years, she has been worried about Lu Yun. Now Lu Yun has not only recovered physically, but also shown a strong talent for martial arts. She feels unprecedented satisfaction. Yeah, Lu He responded, looking at the empty seat in front of him, with a thoughtful expression on his face. Brother, what are you thinking about? Seeing that Lu He was thinking about something, Lu Yu asked softly. Xiao Yun's talent for martial arts is extraordinary, and he can't let it go to waste. Lu He said. After a while, I will discuss with the village and let him apply for the martial arts academy. Lu Yu nodded when she heard this. She also hoped that Lu Yun would go further and have a better future. How about this, you look at how much silver you have at home and see if you can get 10 taels for me. I'll give it to Uncle Meng later and let him take Xiao Yun to train together. Okay. After Lu Yu finished his meal, he quickly took out 10 taels of silver and gave them to Lu He. Lu Yun knew nothing about the conversation between his elder brother and elder sister. After returning to his room, he fell headfirst onto the bed and soon fell asleep. The next day, after having breakfast, Lu He stopped Lu Yun and said, "From today on, you and other children in the village will follow Uncle Meng to practice martial arts together." Training together. Lu Yun was stunned. The so-called training is that children of Lingxi village who are of martial arts age are gathered together and taught by Uncle Meng, one of the most powerful warriors in the village. The children in the village have participated in the village training since they were 8 years old. Because of his physical condition, Lu Yun has problems walking normally, so it is naturally impossible for him to participate in the village training. Now that his body has recovered, it is normal for him to attend the training camp, and he can also see if he can learn other martial arts. With only one wind-breaking sword technique, he is good at self-preservation but not aggressive enough. The training ground is located in the east of Lingxi village. At this time, the sun has just risen. At this time, more than 40 teenagers have gathered. They are practicing boxing. The whistling fist wind sweeps the air, which looks quite impressive. In the team, a boy with a delicate face, who looks about 12 or 13 years old, has endless boxing skills, and his fire is obviously higher than others. Even Lu Meng, who has always been strict in teaching, showed a very rare smile. A tiger father has a dog son. Tianyu is worthy of being the captain's son. Looking at his tiger fist, he has obviously achieved a small success. When several members of the hunting team were inspecting, they couldn't help but stop and comment. That's right, Tianyu will definitely be able to enter the martial arts academy in the future. By then, our Lingxi village will be famous. Another member of the hunting team suddenly said. As soon as this was said, it aroused the interest of others. The martial arts academy is an unattainable existence for people in a small place like Lingxi village. Anyone who walks out of it is stronger than the strongest warrior in Lingxi village. Hey, isn't this Xiaohei? Lu He, you are on a day off today, why are you here? When they saw Lu He and Lu Yun coming over, several members of the hunting team greeted them with a smile. I brought my brother here to participate in the training camp. Lu He replied casually. Hasn't your brother always been in poor health? It may not be a good idea to let him practice martial arts. Lu Dahai, who has a good relationship with Lu He, said. Now he has recovered, there is no problem practicing martial arts, and he will soon surpass us all in the future. Lu He smiled and took Lu Yun around the hunting team and walked towards the training ground. Uncle Meng, I brought my brother here. Uncle Meng, also known as Lu Meng, has a powerful figure and a strong body. He is also one of the most powerful warriors in Lingxi village. After seeing Lu He and Lu Yun coming over, they raised their hands slightly, and the teenagers stopped practicing. Yes, compared to before, he is indeed much stronger. Lu Meng glanced at Lu Yun casually, and saw some clues, and nodded lightly. From today on, you will train with them. You are not allowed to leave early or be late. Do you understand me clearly? Lu Meng's voice was so deep that it made Lu Yun's eardrums roar. I know. Lu Yun also replied loudly. Very good, return to the team. Lu Yun took a closer look and found that none of the teenagers were standing in an orderly manner and there were no empty seats, so he took the initiative to run to the last row. Not long after, several more teenagers, led by their parents, rushed to the training ground. After Lu Meng gave a few instructions, he asked them to join the team of teenagers. When the sun fully rose, Lu Meng counted the number of people, and then nodded with satisfaction. When the young people are strong, the village will be strong. The future of Lingxi village depends on you little guys, so from now on, I will fight hard, to train you. Lu Meng grinned, showing his big white teeth. As soon as he raised his hand, 2 big men came over carrying several boxes. Follow the queue and get the knife. After the 2 big men put down the box, they revealed large knives. Every knife is the same, there is no difference between good and bad. It is an ordinary iron knife, which can barely be used to chop firewood. The teenagers did not choose, and after choosing one as quickly as possible, they all took their places. Very good and in good spirits. Lu Meng glanced at everyone with satisfaction. Genius is created by 99% sweat and 1% talent. Today you will practice the first form of the breaking wind sword technique 100 times. Start. Lu Meng gave an order, and dozens of teenagers began to practice the first style of the breaking wind sword technique at the same time, sweeping through thousands of troops. For a moment, there was a burst of sound of knives. Use some strength. Lu Meng did not stand still, but paced slowly, carefully watching the movements of the young men's hands. Lu Xiaolin, didn't you eat today? You don't have any strength at all. Lu Daong, I think you should change your name. Your strength is not worthy of the word brave at all. Lu Finiu, I'm talking about you. Concentrate your attention and make your strength spread all over your body. Only then will you improve your wind-breaking swordsmanship. Otherwise, you will not make any progress even if you practice thousands of times. For those guys who are not serious or do not use their strength, Lu Meng will scold and correct them. Whether they practice well or not, they are afraid of being stared at by Lu Meng, and they all become cautious. Lu Tianyu, your movements are very standard, and your sword is powerful. Very good, keep working hard. The young man named Lu Tianyu was not particularly surprised when he heard Lu Meng's praise. On the contrary, his face was very calm, as if it was supposed to be. In fact, it is the same. From childhood to now, he has only received praise and affirmation. If his father hadn't secretly given him a job, he wouldn't be any better than us, one of the boys said sinisterly. Lu Yun knew that this boy was a young man in Lingxi village whose talent and strength were second only to Lu Tianyu. His name was Lu Liangpeng. Compared with Lu Tianyu, whose father was the captain of a hunting team, Lu Liangpeng's family background was much simpler. Lu Liangpeng, compared with the last time, you have made great progress. At this time, Lu Meng's attention finally fell on Lu Liangpeng, and he praised him generously. Children are like this. Praise when it is necessary to praise, and scold when it is necessary to scold. Lu Meng felt that he knew it well. Sure enough, after hearing Lu Meng's praise, Lu Liangpeng straightened his back a lot, and the action of swinging the knife became more diligent. After seeing the good effect, Lu Meng nodded slightly, quickly passed Lu Liangpeng, and began to instruct the next one. As a teacher, what needs to be done is to be fair. Just like that, his eyes finally fell on Lu Yun. He knew about Lu Yun. Because of his congenital reasons, his body has always been in poor condition. He relied on Lu He to live until now. Yesterday, Lu He suddenly found him and added Lu Yun's name to the list of training camp, which surprised him. Today, Lu Yun's body has indeed recovered, and he has become much stronger. He looks like a teenager of 12 or 13 years old. Feeling Lu Meng coming over, Lu Yun's heart was not disturbed, and he continued to practice the wind-breaking sword technique without interference. Lu Meng walked in and stood beside Lu Yun, trying to find a little deficiency and weakness, but he stopped for a long time and didn't see Lu Yun reveal a trace of flaws, which surprised him a little. Yesterday Lu He said that this kid has only been practicing the wind-breaking sword technique for less than half a month. It seems that it won't be false. Lu Meng looked at Lu Yun and thought to himself. At this time, Lu Yun's sword technique rhythm was extremely smooth, with both speed and strength. Compared with others, he was obviously much ahead, and Lu Meng nodded frequently. Gradually, some of the boys became weaker and weaker, and they seemed to be limp when swinging their long swords. Lu Meng stopped scolding them. Among the boys, no one could really complete the first move of the broken wind sword technique, which was to sweep through thousands of troops. Even Lu Tianyu, who performed the best so far, was the same. Sure enough, not long after, one boy after another reached his limit. Lu Liangpeng was exhausted when he practiced 45 times. Lu Tianyu was a little better, barely holding on to 59 times. Although it's a little far from 100 times, everyone's progress is pretty good. Today's training ends here, Lu Meng said loudly. Hearing this, many boys in Lingxi village cheered, put down their long swords, and fell to the ground crookedly. There is still half an hour left. You can ask me if you have any questions or doubts. Uncle Meng, I have been able to master the sword technique for 3 months, but I have not been able to master it. Do you have any skills or methods? Lu Mingpeng seized the opportunity and asked first. Your understanding of the broken wind sword technique is basically correct, and you train very seriously, but there is a big gap between the great success and the minor success. If you want to achieve the great success in sword technique, your speed and strength are still lacking. The reason why I asked you to practice the broken wind sword technique 100 times every day is not to torture you, and I don't have the time. Once you can easily complete the task of 100 times, it will be easy to achieve the great success. Lu Meng's answer not only made Lu Mingpeng's face darken, but also made other teenagers sigh. According to their current progress, it may take more than half a year of hard training to achieve the great success. Uncle Meng, the recruitment assessment of the Martial Academy will take less than 3 months. Is there any way for me to achieve the great success quickly? Lu Tianyu said with a burning look. Your sword technique speed is barely acceptable, but your physical strength is not good. You can ask your father to prepare more beast meat for you to quickly accumulate physical strength. Thank you Uncle Meng for your advice. Lu Tianyu thanked him respectfully. Does anyone else have any doubts? Lu Meng's eyes fell on Lu Yun, examining him. Uncle Meng. Lu Yun stood up with a stiff face. Lu Meng narrowed his eyes slightly. I see that your wind-breaking sword technique is not just as simple as the entry level, has it already achieved some success? I just made a breakthrough and was discovered by Uncle Meng. Lu Yun smiled awkwardly, and with that childish face, there was no sense of disobedience at all. After receiving Lu Yun's affirmative response, Lu Meng did not express anything, while the other teenagers were shocked. Although they accepted that Lu Yun, the sickly boy, had recovered and joined the training team, they were greatly surprised that Lu Yun had already practiced the swordsmanship to a minor success. Among the many teenagers, there were less than 10 who could practice the broken wind swordsmanship to a minor success. And these people had practiced for at least several years. In less than half a month, the broken wind swordsmanship has already achieved a minor success. It seems that my Lingxi village will have a great figure in the future. Lu Meng looked at Lu Yun, and the more he looked, the more satisfied he was. Lu Yun, do you have anything to ask me? Whether it is doubts about martial arts or other aspects, you can ask. Lu Meng smiled. For a true genius like Lu Yun, he really wanted to open the door for him. Lu Yun also saw that Lu Meng valued him, and he also had some questions in his mind, so he said, Uncle Meng, I want to know about the division of martial arts realms. You asked this question. Lu Meng glanced at Lu Yun and nodded. This is your first time to participate in the training camp, so it's normal to ask this question. The first realm of martial arts is to enter martial arts. There are 4 levels of martial arts: initial, middle, late, and perfect, corresponding to the 4 stages of strength, explosion, resistance, and speed. When strength, explosive power, resistance, and speed are improved to a certain extent, you can enter the next realm, the Tongmei realm. As for the realm after the Tongmei realm, you will know it after you become a warrior. It is not good for you to know it now. Maybe you are afraid of undermining some people's confidence. Lu Yun secretly speculated in his heart, and continued to ask, Uncle Meng, how can we advance to the martial arts realm and become a warrior? Lu Meng grinned. It's very simple. As long as you practice any third-rate martial arts to the perfect realm, you can become a warrior. If you want to become a warrior, you must at least practice a third-rate martial arts to perfection. I am only a small success now. There is still a long way to go. In the tub, Lu Yun soaked in it, washing away the sweat and fatigue from his body. Today's training camp was indeed very tiring. It also made him feel the martial arts practice of the younger generation in Lingxi village. It also made him aware of the differences between himself and other people of his generation. Others had to practice martial arts for several years before they could master a third-rate boxing technique to a small degree, but he was able to achieve such an achievement in just 10 days. It must be said that this is the difference between geniuses and ordinary people. Broken wind sword technique. Small success, 4%. Energy points, 4.1. After taking a bath, Lu Yun opened the attribute panel and felt more comfortable when he saw that his sword skills had improved a little. Even if I don't have energy points, I can still feel my progress day by day. Thinking about it this way, my own talent is not bad, it can even be said to be excellent. In the days that followed, Lu Yun's life was peaceful and fulfilling. He practiced breaking wind sword technique morning and night, and his progress improved by 1% to 2% every day. His body's speed and strength were also slowly improving. In addition, by constantly eating a large amount of animal meat, his body began to grow, and his whole person became more refined and stronger. Compared with other young people who practiced martial arts together, he felt capable and strong. What surprised Lu Yun was that as his physical fitness increased and his breaking wind sword technique improved, he felt a warm force coming from his heart, extending towards all parts of his body. Although his strength was not greatly improved, but it greatly improved his endurance. In just 2 months, he had been able to practice the sword technique more than 80 times, and his body felt tired. Winter turns to spring, and it is spring again. The huge Yunmeng Mountains stretch as far as the eye can see, and the whole area is green and full of vitality. At the foot of Yunmeng Mountain, there is a small village, Lingxi Village, with only a few smokes and a harmonious atmosphere. In a small forest outside the village, Lu Yun was practicing the wind-breaking sword technique. Tisk tisk tisk. Lu Yun held a long sword in his hand, and the blade cut through the air, slashing, cutting horizontally, and slashing. Every time the sword came out quickly, it was accompanied by the sound of the whistling wind. After practicing the breaking wind sword technique for several months, he has perfected his sword technique. The only thing that restricts his advancement of the sword technique is his physical strength. But after today, this only restriction will no longer exist. Suddenly, the sword technique in Lu Yun's hand seemed to have entered another level. The surrounding wind suddenly rose, the sword light was sharp, and the sword force was like a wave, undulating low. Immediately afterwards, a warm current arose from his heart and surged throughout his body. A powerful aura emitted. Lu Yun's whole figure seemed to be sublimated. He stood with a knife in his hand and his aura was chilling. My wind-breaking sword technique has finally achieved a breakthrough. Feeling his own strength, Lu Yun couldn't help but smile. From a small achievement to a great achievement, there was no extra point. It was all due to his diligent practice. He practiced hard day and night, which took nearly 3 months. Broken wind sword technique, Dacheng 1%. Energy points, 10.9. Opening the attribute panel, Lu Yun was filled with excitement when he saw his perfect wind-breaking sword technique and an energy value of 10.9. After accumulating energy points for such a long time, it's time to let them play their role. Today, I will work hard to improve the breaking wind sword technique to perfection. The thought fell. The wind-breaking sword technique is improved. With the experience of the previous promotions, Lu Yun has become accustomed to the physical changes and other accompanying reactions when martial arts improves. Soon, the energy points were consumed a little, and Dacheng's wind-breaking sword technique increased the progress by 10%. This was all within his expectation. As the level of the wind-breaking sword technique increases, more energy points need to be consumed. Don't hesitate and keep improving. For almost half a quarter of an hour, Lu Yun's body trembled violently, and a powerful force of energy and blood steamed from his body, but it quickly disappeared. Broken wind sword technique. Dacheng 91%. Energy points, 1.9. It will be consummated soon. Looking at the information on the panel, Lu Yun had a smile on his face and was extremely excited. At this time, the distance between him and the warrior was getting closer and closer. Success or failure depends on this. Keep improving. Even though he was already infinitely close to being a warrior, if he wasn't, he wouldn't be. Lu Yun didn't stop there. Concentrate your mind and continue to improve. Boom. As soon as the thought fell, the energy point disappeared for a moment, and then, an extremely powerful force rose from the body, and then surged throughout the body. The blood is boiling. The bones are trembling. Power is flowing. At this moment, Lu Yun felt as if his whole body had undergone transformation. He instantly had endless power, endless strength, and his spirit was extremely high. Different from previous promotions, this promotion can be said to be a rapid advancement and a complete transformation. The changes are still continuing. Qi and blood surge throughout the body, and a warm breath is born in the dantian, as small as a hair, passing through the limbs, tempering the bones, and tempering the body. During this period, the qi and blood gradually grew stronger, and the strength began to slowly rise, but the arc was small and ordinary people could not feel it at all. I have become a warrior. Lu Yun woke up from the breakthrough state, and immediately opened the attribute panel. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Lingxi Village. Martial arts: wind-breaking blade technique perfect, cannot be upgraded. Root bone: 4 stars. Martial arts: initial stage of martial arts. Energy points: 0.9. Lu Yun looked at the updated panel and was shocked. At first, the panel was simple, with only 2 columns of information, martial arts and energy points, which was extremely simple. Now, not only the name and power were added, but also the 2 columns of root bone and martial arts. What surprised Lu Yun was the root bone. 4-star root bone, I don't know if it is considered a genius. I'll take some time to ask Uncle Meng later. Soon, Lu Yun's eyes fell on the martial arts. Compared with root bone, the words, initial stage of martial arts, made him more excited. Even though everything was expected. There are thousands of people in Lingxi village, but less than half 100 can become warriors. In other words, Lu Yun has now become one of the strongest people in Lingxi village. As early as 3 months ago, he was still a sickly person with congenital deficiencies, but now he has become a powerful warrior, which can be said to be a step to heaven. With such a transformation, it would be completely false to say that he is not happy. But he can also understand that becoming a warrior is just the beginning. Uncle Meng said that the first realm of martial arts is the martial arts realm, which is divided into 4 levels: initial, intermediate, final, and perfect, corresponding to the stress stage, the burst stage, the resistance stage, and the speed stage. My current strength is still growing, far from reaching the limit, and it should be considered the initial stage of the martial arts realm. Moreover, without subsequent martial arts, it is impossible to improve. It seems that entering the martial arts academy has to be put on the agenda. Lu Yun's smile faded and he fell into deep thought. Is Lu Yun at home? On this day, Lu Yun finished a day of training. After bathing and changing clothes, a rough voice sounded outside the door. Who could it be? Lu Yun frowned, walked out of the room, and saw a muscular middle-aged man waiting outside the door. Uncle Yushang. This person is the deputy village chief of Lingxi village, Lu Yushang, who is stronger than Lu Meng and the captain of the hunting team, and only below the village chief. Uncle Yushang, what do you want to talk to me about? Lu Yun asked curiously. Hee, little guy, you are blessed, hurry up and follow me. After Lu Yushang finished speaking, he pulled Lu Yun up and took Lu Yun away like a chicken. The bonfire was jumping, and Lingxi village seemed unusually lively. Adults and children, men and women, all had smiles on their faces, and the village was full of laughter. Little guy, don't run around. After taking a medicinal bath, your martial arts will soon be perfect. An old man said with a smile. No, I don't want to be cooked. When a group of children heard that they were going to be put into the copper tripod, they turned pale and ran away screaming, but how could they escape the clutches of the adults? They were easily caught back. A group of ungrateful claws. This is a medicinal bath hosted by the village at a great cost, and ordinary people don't have a chance. After the adults grabbed the children, they slapped their buttocks twice and scolded them with a smile. I'm afraid, I don't want to take a medicinal bath, can you give the opportunity to others? No way, only those who have achieved a minor success in the broken wind sword technique or the tiger fist can enjoy the medicinal bath, and others don't have this treatment. One of the old men scolded. Lu Yun followed Lu Yushang obediently, without resistance along the way, and watched this scene curiously. At this time, he saw another scene. On the other side of the open space, 9 copper tripods had been set up, with a fierce fire burning underneath. The water in the tripod was boiling and bubbling, and plants of medicinal herbs were floating on the surface. Next to each bronze tripod, there stood a middle-aged man, each of them holding a bucket of animal blood, and at this moment, all eyes were cast on the old figure standing in the middle. Because this old figure was the village chief of Lingxi village and the strongest man, Lu Kangsheng. Get ready, put the animal blood into the bronze tripod. At Lu Kangsheng's command, the 9 men poured the animal blood from the wooden barrel into the bronze tripod at the same time. As the red animal blood was poured in, the originally clear liquid medicine instantly became extremely turbid, and it became calm from the original vigorous boiling. Increase the firepower, Lu Kangsheng shouted again, and the strong men hurriedly put the firewood that had been piled up long ago into it. For a moment, the fire burned fiercely, and the liquid medicine in the bronze tripod began to boil again. Looking at the bubbling liquid medicine in the bronze tripod, a group of teenagers turned green at the time, struggling to escape, but were held down by a pair of big hands. You cowards, look at Lu Yun and Lu Tianyu, learn from them. Lu Meng yelled at the teenagers. The bronze tripods contained medicinal herbs found by the hunting team members in the depths of Yunmeng Mountain. They were very precious and could enhance the physique of warriors. Children could use them to enhance their foundation, which would be of great benefit to their future martial arts. The beast blood that was put in the back was obtained by the old village chief who went deep into Yunmeng Mountain and spent a lot of effort to kill a dragon snake in the Tongmei realm. This is how he got so much beast blood. Lingxi village almost used the whole village's strength to hold this medicinal bath. In addition to laying a solid foundation for the teenagers, more importantly, it was to prepare for the martial arts academy to recruit students in the near future. If Lingxi village is lucky enough to have 1 or 2 teenagers enter the martial arts academy, it would be the greatest honor. However, it is not that easy to enter the martial arts academy. In addition to having excellent comprehension, one must also be able to pass the martial arts academy's assessment. Nowadays, there is not a single young man in Lingxi village who has mastered a third-rate martial art, which is really a headache for the village chief Lu Kangsheng and other senior officials in Lingxi village. That's why this medicinal bath was held. Because there are many things to prepare for the medicinal bath, even with the strength of Lingxi village, it took several years of accumulation to barely hold a small-scale medicinal bath. The objects of the medicinal bath are naturally young men with potential. And those who have mastered martial arts to a small level have great potential. When the fire went out, the water in the cauldron was boiling, and when the water temperature dropped slightly, there were wailing sounds and splashing sounds. Wow, I'm going to die. I'm cooked, my whole body is cooked, help. In the bronze cauldron, the young men grinned and kept screaming in pain, but the adults watched coldly without any sympathy. Of course, not all the children were disappointing. Although Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng looked painful, they both gritted their teeth and persisted. They were sweating profusely from the pain, but they did not make any sound from beginning to end. As for Lu Yun, he was even more cooperative, because he had been promoted to a warrior. While his physical fitness had changed, his endurance had also improved a lot, so he was not as painful as others. In addition, Lu Yun also found that as time passed, the viscosity of the medicine in his copper tripod was constantly decreasing, and it gradually became clear from the original turbidity. The old village chief, who was always paying attention to the changes in the copper tripods, smiled after seeing this scene. After instructing another big man to continue to add fire, he took out 2 pottery jars again and poured liquid into the copper tripod where Lu Yun was. Seeing the fire under Lu Yun's copper tripod rising again, the other teenagers showed sympathy, and suddenly felt lucky that they only had to experience pain and torture once. As for some adults, they couldn't help but look at Lu Yun's performance. Teenagers who can experience a complete medicinal bath are considered to have strong talents and will definitely become warriors in the future. And like Lu Yun, not only did he endure the pain of the medicinal bath, but he also absorbed the liquid medicine in the copper tripod in a very short time, allowing the village chief to hold a second medicinal bath for this. This talent is really extraordinary. But at the same time, it is inevitable to have a little worry about this second medicinal bath, and the old village chief added 2 different kinds of animal blood separately. Not ordinary people can bear it, let alone Lu Yun who is less than 11 years old. Don't worry, Lu Yun is a little guy with a strong physique and can bear it, and this medicinal bath will be of great help to him. The old village chief Lu Kangsheng stroked his beard and said, "It has been less than half a month since Yun practiced, and he has already practiced the wind-breaking sword technique to the minor success level. After this medicinal bath, he will definitely be able to enter the major success level, and then he will have a great chance of entering the martial arts academy." Lu Meng looked at Lu Yun who was persisting in the bronze tripod and couldn't help but admire. "Hey, our Lingxi village finally has a genius." A strong man also sighed. The medicinal bath lasted for a long time, and the teenagers were soaked like red-skinned monkeys. After they couldn't hold on any longer, they were finally caught by the adults. After coming out, they looked miserable, looked at each other, and their eyes were full of tears, as if they were tortured by something painful. Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng showed joy on their faces, secretly feeling the surge of power. The effect is very good. After completely absorbing the medicinal properties, their martial arts can enter the major success level. Lu Kangsheng stood with several old men, talking quietly, and nodded with satisfaction. Lu Yun on the side silently summoned the panel. Name: Lu Yun. Affiliation: Lingxi Village. Martial arts: wind-breaking sword technique perfect. Can it be upgraded? Root bones. 5 stars. Martial arts. Initial stage of martial arts. Energy points. 0.9. Lingxi village, at the home of the old village chief. Xiaoyun, Tianyu, Liangpeng. The old village chief Lu Kangsheng's face was full of red. This time, Lu Yun, Lu Tianyu, and Lu Liangpeng performed well in the medicinal bath. Especially Lu Yun, who took 2 medicinal baths, which can be said to be extremely talented, making Lu Kangsheng very happy. Lingxi village finally had a true genius. Xiaoyun, I want to ask you, have you become a formal warrior? Lu Kangsheng asked curiously. Lu Yun's eyes flashed. He didn't expect the old village chief to ask this question. How did he know that he had been promoted to a warrior? Grandpa village chief, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I have a talent for martial arts. I practiced the broken wind sword technique and it was perfect. Although it was unexpected, Lu Yun had already had an excuse in his heart. As long as someone asked, he would attribute it all to his talent. This statement is the safest, and now his root bone has been promoted to a 5-star root bone, which is not a lie. It seems that Xiaoyun's root bone talent is indeed excellent. It's a pity that we don't have a way to test the root bone, otherwise we would know your root bone star. Lu Kangsheng felt a little regretful, but it soon disappeared. Thinking of Lu Yun becoming a warrior after only 3 months of practice, he was more looking forward to Lu Yun's future. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu on the side looked at Lu Yun with extremely complicated eyes. In the past, the two of them were the most outstanding among the younger generation in Lingxi village, and they didn't take others seriously. Now, they are still one step away from the third-rate martial arts, but Lu Yun has become a warrior first. This has to be said to be a huge irony. Root bone. Lu Yun was delighted. He wanted to find an opportunity to ask about the root bone. Now that the old village chief took the initiative to mention it, he naturally would not miss this opportunity to ask. Grandpa village chief, how can we detect the root bone, and how to judge the quality of the root bone? The old village chief Lu Kangsheng pondered for a moment, and then slowly said, to detect the root bone, either there are special tools, or the martial arts realm is extremely high. You will know when you participate in the martial arts college assessment. The root bone has 1 star to 9 stars. 1-star root bone has the worst talent, and can only barely become a warrior throughout his life. 9-star root bone is the best. Once discovered, it will be fought over by countless top sects and super forces. But the so-called 9-star root bone, I have never seen it, and I don't know what kind of genius it is. The old village chief Lu Kangsheng couldn't help showing a trace of yearning. Grandpa village chief, how many stars of root bone do you have? At this time, Lu Tianyu on the side suddenly asked. Haha, don't say it, don't say it. Lu Kangsheng obviously didn't want to dwell on this issue. Tianyu, Liangpeng, you go back first, digest today's medicinal bath, and strive to master martial arts. As for Lu Yun, you have become a warrior. If you want to continue to improve your strength, you need to learn a new martial arts. I will take you to the village's hidden martial arts building to choose a suitable martial arts. Lu Kangsheng stood up and walked out. Lu Yun was immediately delighted. He just lacked subsequent martial arts, and so far, he had only practiced a wind-breaking sword technique, lacking means to deal with the enemy. In addition, without a suitable sword, his strength was greatly reduced. Now he has the opportunity to learn new martial arts, and he is naturally happy. The hidden martial arts building is actually an independent 2-story attic located in Lu Kangsheng's backyard, and no one is guarding it. With Lu Kangsheng, the first warrior in Lingxi village, there is no need for anyone to guard it. The first floor is full of some second-rate and third-rate martial arts, mainly used to lay the foundation, such as the wind-breaking sword technique, the tiger fist, etc. Since you are already a martial artist in the martial arts realm, you don't need to look at these martial arts. I will take you directly to the second floor. Lu Kangsheng took Lu Yun up the stairs. There was only one large room on the second floor of the Kanggong building, with 2 rows of bookshelves. One of the bookshelves was empty, and the other bookshelf was also sparsely placed with more than a dozen booklets. Lu Kangsheng stepped forward and skillfully took out 3 booklets from it and placed them on the table. These 3 books are all second-rate martial arts. Any one of them can help you pass the stage of entering the martial arts realm and advance to the next realm of martial arts, the Tongmei realm. Lu Yun hurriedly picked up the booklet and flipped through it. The bull power can temper bones and flesh and cultivate to perfection, with a force of 1,000 pounds, and has a strong explosive power when facing the enemy. The 13 Taibao practiced horizontally, tempered their bodies, and laid the foundation of martial arts. After perfection, the body will automatically open the first meridian and produce true qi. Hunyuan Gong mainly focuses on the potential of the body, comprehensively improving the strength, speed, and endurance of the body. It is a steady form, but the disadvantage is that it is difficult to improve and the practice speed is relatively slow. Seeing that Lu Yun had gone through all 3 martial arts books, Lu Kangsheng smiled and said, "Of all the martial arts in the Kanggong building, these 3 are the best. What do you think? Which one do you like?" "Grandpa Village Chief, can't you choose all 3? Lu Yun scratched his head embarrassedly. "You kid." Lu Kangsheng laughed and scolded, "Although you have good talent, you must know that people's energy is limited. It's good enough to practice one of them to perfection. Besides, these 3 martial arts books have similar effects. Even if you can guarantee that you can practice them to perfection in a short time, it will not help you much in the growth of your strength. It will only waste time." "Ah, that's it." Lu Yun was stunned when he heard this, and then asked, "Grandpa, the village chief, the 13 Taibao Heng has practiced kung fu to perfection. Not only has his physical strength greatly increased, but his meridians have been opened, and his true energy can be generated by himself. Does this mean that these 3 gates in martial arts, the 13 Taibao, are the strongest when practicing kung fu?" Lu Kangsheng shook his head, and then nodded again, which confused Lu Yun for a moment. After pondering for a long time, Lu Kangsheng explained, "Entering the martial arts realm can be regarded as a process of laying the foundation. By constantly tempering the body and beating the physical body, one can increase one's physique, improve qi and blood, and open up the meridians and condense the true qi for the future." Base. The practice of the 13 Taibao Heng Qigong can indeed help you open up your meridians and give birth to true energy, but the method of improving energy and blood and increasing the physical potential is too overbearing, and is not as good as Mang Niu Jin. If you have average bones, practicing Qigong with the 13 Taibao Heng is a good choice, which can make it easier for you to advance to the realm of Tongmei. But your martial arts talent is extremely high and you have great hope of entering the martial arts academy, so I suggest you choose Hunyuan Gong. This martial arts is relatively moderate and can be improved in all aspects. Compared with other martial arts, there is no shortcoming. Plate. Quote. Is this so? After hearing this, Lu Yun finally made a decision in his heart. "Grandpa Village Chief, then I will choose Hunyuan Gong. Boys can be taught." Seeing that Lu Yun had made the right choice, a smile appeared on Lu Kangsheng's old face. There were wrinkles on his old face, like blooming chrysanthemums. "There aren't many second-rate martial arts skills in the village. Memorize the contents as soon as possible and return them." When handing over Hunyuan Gong to Lu Yun, Lu Kangsheng's face was full of solemnity. Lu Yun nodded, clenched his hands and bought the book. Needless to say, Lu Kangsheng understood the importance of the martial arts in his hands. After all, there are only a dozen second-rate martial arts books in the entire Zhangong building, which is the most precious resource of Lingxi village. After returning home, Lu He and Lu Yu came up and asked about Lu Yun's strength. Lu Yun brought out the same rhetoric he had said to the old village chief, and ran back to the room and closed the door. He broke through while practicing, and became a warrior. Lu He was stunned and shocked by Lu Yun's words. "I remember that he also said that he broke through while practicing last time, and now it's the same again," Lu Yu said embarrassedly. Lu He shook his head, and he was obviously hit hard. "Hey, Xiao Yun's martial arts talent is very high, which is a great thing for the family and the village. We should be happy," Lu Yu comforted. "Well, we should be happy." Lu He tried to force a smile. In the room, Lu Yun opened the book of Hunyuan Gong, which described in detail how to use the yuan qi of heaven and earth to temper oneself, stimulate the potential of the body, strengthen the blood, and enhance the strength and explosive power of the body. Lu Yun spent half an hour to memorize the content, and then his mind moved. Summon the panel. Name: Lu Yun. Faction: Lingxi Village. Martial arts: Pofeng sword technique perfect, cannot be upgraded. Hunyuan Gong not yet entered, cannot be upgraded. Root bones: 5 stars. Martial arts: initial stage of entering the martial arts realm. Energy points: 0.9. If you don't remember the content of martial arts, the information of the martial arts will not appear on the panel. Now, Hunyuan Gong appears on the panel, which proves that Lu Yun has completely memorized it. Since all the energy points are used to improve Pofeng sword technique, Lu Yun cannot take shortcuts. However, not being able to use energy points to improve martial arts does not mean that you have to waste your time. Lu Yun's current root bones are 5 stars, and his talent is also good. He believes that even with his hard work, he can improve martial arts. Time always passes quickly when you practice seriously. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. During this period, Lu Yun practiced and accumulated energy points at the same time. At the same time, during his practice, his name as a genius gradually spread in Lingxi village. Lu Yun naturally didn't pay much attention to this kind of thing. In Lu Yun's opinion, the only thing that should be done is to improve one's own strength. Beep. That day, the courtyard door was knocked. Lu Yun opened the door and immediately saw Lu Yushang standing outside the door. Uncle Yushang. Lu Yun showed a sunny smile on his face. Yeah, Lu Yushang nodded kindly, and said expectantly, I heard that you chose Hunyuan Gong in the Kanggong building last time. Have you entered the door? Just entered the door. Lu Yun's eyes flashed and showed a bright smile. In the past month, he has been practicing hard day and night, and it can be said that he has made rapid progress. Of course, it is not as simple as just entering the door, but in order to avoid causing a sensation, he did not tell the truth. Haha, I know you can definitely do it. Lu Yushang waved his strong right hand, patted Lu Yun's shoulder fiercely, and smiled. You are the first person in Lingxi village to practice Hunyuan Gong to the entry level, and it only took 1 month. You have a bright future. Lu Yun touched his nose embarrassedly and silently looked at the progress of Hunyuan Gong. Hunyuan Gong. Minor success 3% cannot be upgraded. Energy points 0.1. In just 1 month, he was able to cultivate Hunyuan Gong to minor success, which was something that others could not have expected. Although he also used energy points, he did not get too many energy points in the past month. The improvement of Hunyuan Gong mainly depended on Lu Yun's hard work day and night. After chatting with Lu Yun casually for a few more words, Lu Yushang said, it's less than half a month before the martial arts school assessment. You have to leave now to participate in the assessment. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu are already prepared. You should pack up quickly. I have packed up, so there is no need to waste everyone's time. At this time, Lu Yu came out of the house with a package. Our Xiaoyun is going on a long journey. Sister can't provide you with any help. I can only make you a new dress in my spare time. When handing the package to Lu Yun, Lu Yu was reluctant. After Lu Yun showed his high martial arts talent, she knew that her brother did not belong here, or even in Yunshui County, so she had been prepared. However, when she was really facing separation, she realized how reluctant she was. Don't worry, sister. When I succeed in martial arts, I will definitely take you and your brother to the city. Lu Yun vowed. I believe in Xiaoyun. Lu Yu smiled and nodded, holding back tears, pretending to be strong. Xiaoyun, we are waiting for you to become famous in Yunshui County and even Lingzhou. Lu He laughed loudly, looking at Lu Yun with pride. Compared with Lu Yu's reluctance, Lu He was more proud. This is his younger brother, with a very high martial arts talent and immeasurable future achievements. A small Lingxi village can't restrain him at all. Yunshui County and even the vast Lingzhou are his real stage. Lu Yu was reluctant, rubbing the corners of his clothes with his little hands, looking at Lu Yun with red eyes. Brother, sister, I'm leaving. Tears flashed in Lu Yun's eyes. Although he was reluctant to leave, he had to leave. After saying that, under the gaze of Lu He and Lu Yu, he picked up the package, put on his long knife, turned around and left with Lu Yushang. They first went to the village chief's house. As soon as they entered the courtyard, they saw Lu Liangpeng, Lu Tianyu and 2 middle-aged men waiting there. One of the middle-aged men, Lu Yun, knew that he was the captain of the Lingxi village hunting team, Lu Tianyu's father, Lu Bingsheng. As for the other strong man, Lu Yun guessed that it should be Lu Liangpeng's father. Are all the people here? Soon, the old village chief Lu Kangsheng came out of the house. He looked extremely old, but his eyes were bright and gave people a strong sense of oppression. Village chief. Lu Yun and others greeted one by one. Bingsheng, During the time I'm away, you have to cooperate with Yusheng and take care of the village. Lu Kangsheng ordered. Village chief, don't worry, during your absence, I will order the hunting team to strengthen the daily defense and ensure that there will be no accidents in the village. Lu Bingsheng patted his chest to promise. Lu Kangsheng nodded, looked at Lu Yun, Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu, and said kindly, okay, let's get ready to go. As soon as the voice fell, a carriage appeared outside the gate, driven by a young man who was also one of the warriors in the village. Lu Yun remembered that the other person seemed to be called Lu Kang, and he had a good relationship with his elder brother Lu He. Village chief, you get in the car. Lu Kang said loudly. Soon, several people got in the car, and the carriage slowly set off and drove away from Lingxi village. It's really sparsely populated. After leaving Lingxi village, the population became sparse. The carriage traveled for dozens of miles without encountering a single person. The world is in chaos, the sects are hostile to each other, and the states are in chaos. Except for those who have a little strength, there are few people walking outside. Even if there are, they are in groups, like Lu Yun and his group. Because the old village chief is there, the atmosphere in the carriage has always been relatively quiet and depressing. After walking for several hours, Lu Liangpeng couldn't stand the loneliness anymore, so he started chatting with Lu Yun. Of course, the content of the conversation was limited to daily life in the village, and rarely mentioned the other party's cultivation progress. In late spring, the sun gradually becomes hotter. On the mountain road covered with withered grass, the carriage moved forward leisurely, and Lu Kang, who was driving the carriage, sang from time to time that was hard to hear. Lu Tianyu also slowly let go of his reserve and joined Lu Yun in the conversation. Lu Yun, how did you recover from your illness? My father once said that with your original condition, it would be difficult to live a normal life. How did you become a warrior so quickly? You have to ask such a simple question. Lu Liangpeng said with disdain. Lu Yun became a warrior so quickly, of course because his talent is much higher than yours. As for his innate deficiencies, as long as he makes a slight breakthrough in his skills, he can improve his body. Being so ridiculed by Lu Liangpeng, Lu Tianyu didn't have a good face, and said coldly, you can just target me in the village. If you are lucky enough to pass the examination and enter the martial arts academy in the future, we are fellow villagers and companions who need to help each other. I suggest you still change your past temper. Even then I'm not your companion. My companion should be someone I like Lu Yun. Lu Liangpeng didn't buy Lu Tianyu's account at all. Seeing that the two of them were not dealing with each other, Lu Yun couldn't help but interrupt, so he slowly opened his package in a corner to see what was inside. From the time he set out until now, he always felt heavy inside, not like there was only one piece of clothing. Opening the package, the outermost item was indeed a piece of clothing. It was dark black in color and the fabric was smooth and soft to the touch. Lu Yun opened a corner of his clothes and suddenly saw something wrapped in linen, which was very hard to the touch. Is this what makes the package so heavy? Out of curiosity, Lu Yun opened the linen cloth, and a few pieces of white stuff came out of it. Hey, a lot of silver. Lu Liangpeng happened to see the silver exposed from Lu Yun's package. It looks like it's at least 50 taels. Your eldest brother and eldest sister seem to take good care of you. Lu Tianyu also said, with a trace of envy on his face. This time, his father, the captain of the hunting team, gave him the gift when he went out this time. 20 taels of silver. Yes, my eldest brother and sister take good care of me. Lu Yun nodded, rolled up the silver in linen again, put it in the package, and hugged it tightly, feeling warm in his heart. He knew very well that 50 taels of silver might be all the family's belongings. But now, it's all given to myself. This love is so heavy. Everyone, be careful and cheer up. Lu Kang, who was driving the car, said loudly, there are often horse bandits on the mountain road ahead. Horse bandit. Hearing this, Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu both cheered up. It was their first time traveling far away, and they were full of curiosity and fear about the outside world. Lu Yun also tensed up his nerves and turned his head to look at the hillsides on both sides of the road. He was not sure what kind of strength the horse bandits in this world had. It was okay that the horse bandits were ordinary people and did not pose any threat to them. If you are a warrior, it will be a bit troublesome. As the carriage moved forward, the woods on both sides of the road gradually became denser. If someone suddenly burst out of it, it would be difficult to react and deal with it. Be careful, there is someone. At this moment, Liu Kang pulled the reins, the fierce horse roared, and the carriage suddenly stopped. It turned out that directly in front of the mountain road, under a big tree, there were more than a dozen figures dressed as horse bandits. Among them, the leader was a bald man. He was wearing a piece of duanghua, the muscles in his arms were swollen, and his face was actually full of flesh. At first glance, he looked like a practitioner with a strong sense of strength. Behind the big man, there were 12 or 3 big men, each of them was not a simple character. They were holding big swords and looking coldly at the carriage in front of them. One of the horse bandits, holding a folding fan in his hand, said with a smile on his face, "I opened this mountain and this tree." Before he finished speaking, he was kicked in the butt by a man next to him, causing him to stumble and almost fall down. When you rob, you just rob. You have to do it in a formal way. It will show that you are very capable, right? The sly-looking horse bandit scolded angrily, pretending to kick the previous horse bandit again. "I think it's pretty good, it makes you look more imposing." The bald man at the head stopped him and ordered the horse bandit holding a folding fan, "Continue what you said before, speak louder and show off your momentum, there will be a reward." Quote, "Okay, boss." The horse bandit patted the mark on his butt, rearranged his clothes, opened the folding fan, got into a good posture, looked at Liu Yun and others, and said with a feather fan, "I drove this mountain, and I carried this tree. If you want to pass by from now on, leave money to buy it." His voice was strong and heavy, and there was indescribable confidence in his tone. He looked like a scribe, but paired with his rough figure and messy clothes, he looked a bit unethical. This scene is somewhat familiar. Seeing this scene, Liu Yun couldn't help but think of the scene he saw on TV in his previous life. It was exactly the same. In fact, when he saw these horse bandits, Liu Yun's uneasiness quickly disappeared. The most powerful of these horse bandits is the bald man who leads them. He looks really strong and gives people a very powerful feeling, but in fact he is just a warrior who has entered the middle stage of the martial arts realm. As for the other horse bandits, only 1 or 2 were warriors, and the others were stronger ordinary people. They did not pose the slightest threat to Liu Yun and his party. Of course, this was the case when the old village chief Liu Kangsheng took action. These are just ordinary horse bandits with no real strength. They are here for you to practice on. At this time, Liu Kangsheng, who had been resting with his eyes closed, spoke. Liu Kang frowned and said worriedly, "Village chief, these are all desperate criminals. It's a bit difficult for the 3 of them to face them alone." "It's okay, I'll be watching. Nothing will happen." Liu Kangsheng waved his hand. Seeing that the village chief had made up his mind, the 3 teenagers Liu Yun, Liu Liangpeng and Liu Tianyu looked at each other, then suddenly jumped up and jumped off the carriage. When they came to the horse bandits, Liu Liangpeng spoke first and threatened, "We are from Lingxi village and are going to the county to participate in the martial arts college assessment. If you know what's good for you, then make way obediently, otherwise you and others will be killed." Seeing that Liu Liangpeng had exposed his identity like this, Liu Yun frowned, but didn't say anything. Anyway, these horse bandits were destined to die today. Haha, whose kid is this? He dares to speak so arrogantly at such a young age. The bald man stroked his head and said to the people behind him, "Brothers, one of you should go out and teach this little brat a lesson, let him know the wickedness of people in this chaotic world." Hearing this, the sly-looking horse bandit sneered and rushed out first. "Boss, let me, Ma Lao-san, take care of these little guys." After saying that, Ma Lao-san glanced at Liu Yun and the other 2 with a gloomy face, and then looked at Liu Liangpeng with murderous intent. He moved his body, and the long sword broke out of the sheath and chopped out fiercely. Come on. Liu Liangpeng is a man who is not afraid of tigers. Facing the horse bandits, he did not retreat but took the initiative to attack. He jumped up and drew his sword at the same time. This series of actions was completed almost instantly, showing the strength of the broken wind sword technique. This kid is really quite powerful. Ma Lao-san dodged the attack with a shudder, and said to Liu Liangpeng with lingering fear. "I thought the horse bandits were so powerful, but I didn't expect them to be such a fool." Seeing that the other party was almost killed by his sword, Liu Liangpeng's confidence was greatly boosted, and the trace of fear in his heart disappeared. After that, he burst out with amazing strength and speed, and the first move of the broken wind sword technique swept through the army, and the sword wind whistled, giving Ma Lao San no chance to react, and killed him off his horse. Not good. This kid is really a martial artist, quite fierce. In the distance, after seeing his men being killed by a child in a few strokes, the bald man pointed his knife and said with murderous intent, "You all come together and kill these 3 kids together." "Yes, boss." The remaining horse bandits received the order, except for the other 2, all rode their horses and waved the huge machetes in their hands, attacking Lu Yun and the other 2. Lu Yun. Lu Tianyu turned his head suddenly and said, "You are the strongest among the 3 of us, so you should take more responsibility and kill the big ones." Hearing this, Lu Yun nodded heavily, and at the same time pressed the handle of the knife on his waist, ready to go. "Leave the first 3 to me." Lu Liangpang had already killed a horse bandit, and now his confidence has increased dramatically. He actually showed the style of a master, and he was not panicked at all. "Okay, but don't be careless, these people are desperate." Lu Tianyu did not forget to remind him when he was about to take action. "Kill." Lu Liangpang didn't know if he listened to it, and rushed out immediately. In the dense woods, the setting sun shone sparsely between the leaves. On the road in the middle, 3 teenagers charged at a group of horse bandits riding horses. The first to engage in close combat with the horse bandits was Lu Liangpang. Although he had not yet become a warrior, he had mastered the third-rate martial arts of breaking wind swordsmanship. His speed and strength were far above that of an average adult. He jumped and kicked one of the horse bandits off his horse. At the same time, he swept his long sword and chopped the right arm of another horse bandit. However, the opponent seemed to have been prepared for a long time and was experienced. He dodged the fatal blow by turning sideways, and chopped it with a sword. Then, with the inertia of the charge, the powerful force that burst out was not much inferior to that of Lu Liangpang, a quasi-warrior. At this time, another horse bandit also attacked from another direction. The sharp long sword was about to chop at Lu Liangpang, who was overwhelmed, but at the critical moment, it was blocked by an inexplicable attack, giving Lu Liangpang a chance to breathe. This scene was just noticed by Lu Yun. After a little thought, he knew what happened before. At the same time, he secretly thought, the old village chief is at least a master of Tongmei realm, otherwise it would be impossible for him to block the attack of the horse bandits from such a distance. After knowing that there was such a great master as the old village chief who was secretly watching him and others, Lu Yun no longer hesitated and confronted the oncoming horse bandits head-on. Clang! The long sword was unsheathed, and a cold light flashed. Suddenly, one of the horse bandits fell off the horse, accompanied by the separation of his head. This is the extreme speed and powerful explosive power of a warrior in the middle stage of the martial arts realm. This is the feeling of killing, and it's nothing. It seems that I am born to be an executioner. The first time Lu Yun killed someone, he just felt a little emotional in his heart, and he didn't feel any discomfort. Die. At this moment, another horse bandit, holding a machete in his hand, with murderous eyes, chopped down at Lu Yun suddenly. Just as the blade was about to fall on Lu Yun's forehead, he suddenly leaned back and easily avoided the fatal blow, then kicked the horse's belly with a side kick, and the powerful force actually knocked the horse down directly. The horse bandit fell to the ground suddenly, and before he could get up, he felt a strong chill. Not good. The horse bandit instantly realized the danger, regardless of the pain on his body, and drew his knife to block. Bang! The powerful force fell, and the long knife was directly shaken away. At the same time, a cold light burst out and fell from the left shoulder of the horse bandit. Blood was dripping, and the horse bandit was in pain and blurred consciousness, and soon fainted. Lu Yun quickly made up the last knife, and then attacked another horse bandit at the fastest speed. Another sudden knife burst out, and another horse bandit died. In a few seconds, half of the dozen horse bandits died, and with the bald man who was the leader of the bandits, there were only 7 horse bandits left. We've met a tough guy. The bald man saw his brothers fall one after another, and the flesh on his face trembled. He pointed the tip of the knife at the 2 people beside him and ordered, "You guys, take action yourself and chop off the heads of these 3 kids. It's really useless. Just a few little brats, we actually need to take action ourselves. Such trash is not worthy of being with us." One of the horse bandits muttered, but still did not disobey the bald man's order and attacked with another horse bandit. After Lu Yun dealt with another horse bandit, he noticed two black shadows approaching quickly. What a fast speed! Lu Yun was shocked. The speed and momentum of these two horse bandits were much stronger than the previous horse bandits, and even better than the two quasi-warriors Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu. Lu Yun immediately realized that these two horse bandits were warriors. Little guy, please let me lead you to death. In just 2 breaths, the horse bandit attacked and killed him. At the same time, the horse bandit's sword swing made a strong sound that broke through the air. With such a powerful explosive power, he is indeed a warrior. As a warrior with perfect Po Feng sword skills, Lu Yun immediately knew that this horse bandit was also a warrior who was promoted with sword skills. However, his Hunyuan Gong was a little accomplished, and his strength and speed were greatly improved. His explosive power was far greater than that of his opponent, and he was not afraid. After dodging the opponent's charge, he started fighting with him. Little guy, you have a chance, but your 2 companions are not warriors. They can't hold on for long. When the time comes, the 2 warriors will attack. It depends on what you do. The horse bandit kept moving his hands while attacking Lu Yun with his words. He has sharp swordsmanship and experienced combat skills. He realized that Lu Yun's strength and realm were superior to his own, but he didn't even try hard. Bang! Lu Yun drove the opponent back with one strike of his sword, and the dense wind of swords swept continuously, pressing against the horse bandits layer by layer, without giving the opponent a chance to breathe. The wind-breaking sword technique is a top-notch third-rate martial arts, and the 3 moves only attack but do not defend. It has an advantage in the battle. For a while, the horse bandit was suppressed without the ability to fight back. At this time, Lu Kangsheng in the carriage smiled lightly and said, "Xiao Kang, what do you think of these 3 children?" Village chief, although Lu Yun relied on his speed and strength to suppress his opponents, he lacked experience in fighting the enemy. Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng can deal with ordinary horse bandits just fine, but one of the horse bandits is a genuine warrior and has rich combat experience, so he may not be able to hold on for long. Quote, yes, it is so difficult for them to deal with just a few horse bandits. So what should they do when they face more and more powerful warriors in the future? Lu Kangsheng's old face showed a trace of worry. Hey, I don't know whether it is right or wrong to send them out of Lingxi village. Lu Kang said, Village chief, I am not as wise as you, but I only know one truth. Young eagles always have to fly high. They are still young and have never traveled outside. But with their qualifications, as long as they have experienced, many will gradually grow up, especially Lu Yun, who can suppress a ferocious horse bandit warrior at a young age, and his future achievements will be limitless. Quote, well, you are right, so while we can still provide help to them, we will try our best to help them grow. Lu Kangsheng looked at Lu Yun and others with a gleam of wisdom in his eyes. The setting sun shines obliquely, the breeze blows, and the leaves sway. The battle in the woods is still going on. At this time, there are already dozens of corpses lying on the ground. These corpses are of course all horse bandits. However, Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng are not in a good condition at this time, and each of them has several knife wounds on their bodies. I didn't expect that I would have the day to fight side by side with you. Lu Liangpeng said coldly. Haha, I believe there will be many such opportunities in the future, but there is a prerequisite, you must be able to pass the assessment and enter the martial arts academy with me. Lu Tianyu laughed, not caring about the injuries on his body. I admire your courage a little bit. You dare to talk and laugh in front of me when you are about to die. At this time, the horse bandit has dismounted, and his chain knife slashes with a crisp metal collision sound. He presses step by step, the attack is very rhythmic and oppressive, and gradually expands the results of the battle. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu can only be broken by the defense. Are the village chief and his men really just sitting there and watching us die here? Although Lu Liangpeng still looked relaxed on the surface, he was actually feeling fearful in his heart. It was no wonder that they were not warriors after all, and they were just teenagers under 13 years old. It was normal for them to feel fearful when facing such an experienced warrior. However, once fear arose, it was inevitable that they would reveal their flaws when they attacked, and the bandits easily caught them, and they cut another hole in Lu Liangpeng's body with a knife. There is less than half a month left before the Martial Arts Academy assessment. If they are seriously injured, it may affect their entry into the Martial Arts Academy. Liu Kang said worriedly. Liu Kangsheng nodded. Well, the training effect is almost over, you go and stretch your muscles. Yes, village chief. Just when Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng were in danger, they suddenly saw Liu Kang's figure suddenly appear. He held the knife in both hands and walked briskly. Oh no, this guy is also a warrior. As a warrior in the early stage of the martial arts realm, the horse bandit felt the crisis from the sudden appearance of Liu Kang. But his movements were still a little slow. As soon as he turned around, he felt the wind of a knife coming, and then there was a strong pain from his waist. What a fast speed, this guy is at least at the same level as the boss. I am not his opponent. I have to run away. The horse bandit was very anxious. He endured the severe pain from his waist and fled in the direction of the bald man. Knowing that he was not an opponent, running away was the first priority to save his life. The horse bandit played it to the fullest and fled several feet away in a blink of an eye. But how could Liu Kang let him do what he wanted? He jumped suddenly, stepped on the tree trunk with his right foot, accelerated with the force, rushed behind the horse bandit, and slashed with a sharp knife. Puff! A long wound appeared on the horse bandit's back, blood was flowing, and the injury was bone deep. At this time, the horse bandit finally lost his fighting power and fell in a pool of blood. Fantasy, this is a trick. The bald man Jian Liu Kang suddenly attacked, and then he burst out with the strength of at least the late stage of the martial realm. He did not dare to stay any longer, pulled the reins, and ran away on horseback. Today I will teach you another lesson. When you go out, you must cut the grass and root it out, leaving no trouble behind. At this time, Liu Kangsheng suddenly left the carriage, appeared in front of the bald man, and stopped him. You are very unfortunate. You met me. Not only did you become a negative example, but you also lost your life. Liu Kangsheng's eyes were cold, and his strong true energy suddenly started to work. He took a step forward and slapped his palms together. Bang bang. The powerful true energy came out from his thin body, and the majestic power roared and surged. At this moment, the strong bald man was like a small boat in the stormy waves. Before he had time to be shocked, he was blown away by the majestic power. You are a master of the Tongmei realm. The bald man spit out a mouthful of blood, and before he died, his eyes were full of disbelief. If you don't remove the roots, they will grow again in the spring breeze. For Lingxi village, I hope you can grow up. Liu Kangsheng regained his amiable old man appearance and sighed. Immediately, he looked back in the direction of Lu Yun and urged, Kid, the sun is about to set, hurry up and end the battle, otherwise we will have to camp in the wild. Boss. The horse bandit who was fighting with Lu Yun had just seen his companions fall in a pool of blood, and now he saw the boss being killed by an old man in one move. He was immediately shocked and lost his way. Good opportunity. Lu Yun took the opportunity to seize the opponent's gap, concentrated his speed and strength, and tried his best to perform the move of sweeping away thousands of mountains. Da da da. The horse bandit's head rolled down, and he died with his eyes open. How does it feel to kill people? Liu Kang came over at this time, looked at the three teenagers with interest and smiled. That's it, I don't feel anything. Lu Liangpeng said frankly. Lu Tianyu shook his head slightly, his face a little pale, and said, if I don't kill them, they will kill me. It's either you or I. Even if you feel uncomfortable, you can only make the right choice. Liu Kang nodded slightly, and looked at Lu Yun with an inquiring look. I don't know how many dead souls there are in the hands of these horse bandits. In my eyes, they are actually not much different from beasts. Killing beasts doesn't have much psychological burden for me. Lu Yun wiped the blood off the knife, and then cleaned the battlefield as if nothing had happened. They are all very good, especially Lu Yun, who is very suitable to be a warrior. Liu Kang's face was full of smiles, and he was indescribably satisfied. I remember when you were this old, your hands were shaking even when you killed a chicken. You are much worse than them in this respect. Liu Kangsheng came over and joked. He was sincerely happy to see the growth of the three teenagers. Haha, old village chief, please don't mention my ugly deeds in the past. Although Liu Kang said so, he had no grudges in his heart. Okay, let's get ready to go. Then, Liu Kangsheng paused and ordered, it is not advisable to stay for a long time this time. Simply clean up the battlefield and continue on the road. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu were both slightly injured. They got on the car first to bandage and apply medicine. Only Lu Yun and Lu Kang cleaned up the battlefield. After a simple cleanup, Lu Yun obtained scattered silver from a group of horse bandits, a total of 75 taels. Then he searched the bald man and found a yellowed book, which was a third-rate martial arts secret book called Quangfang Sword Technique. Lu Yun, who had already practiced the broken wind sword technique, was naturally not interested in this, so he handed it over to Lu Kangsheng. As for the bandits' horses, they had already run away because they were frightened. In this way, Lu Yun and his party set off again. Name: Lu Yun. Affiliation: Lingxi Village. Martial arts: perfect broken wind sword technique, third-rate martial arts, cannot be improved, minor success of Hunyuan Gong, 3%. Root bones, 5 stars. Martial arts, initial stage of entering the martial realm. Energy point, 0.1. Sure enough, killing people will not gain energy points. Lu Yun put away the panel and thought to himself. Since he discovered the attribute panel, after a long period of summary, he found that there are only 2 ways to obtain energy points. One is to obtain it automatically. If he obtains enough nutrition from the outside world every day, he will accumulate 1 energy point every 10 days. The second is to swallow spiritual objects, such as blood ginseng. As long as it is swallowed, the medicinal power contained in it can be converted into energy points. Moreover, as the level of martial arts increases, the effect of energy points will also decrease. For example, when you are just starting to learn the third-rate martial arts Pofeng Dao Fa, 1 energy point can increase the progress by 30%. After the minor success, 1 energy point can only increase the progress by 20%. After the major success, 1 energy point can only increase the progress by about 10%. For higher level martial arts, the improvement of Hunyuan Gong requires more energy points. Chapter 11. Yunshui County has arrived. As the sun set, a huge city filled with the breath of time appeared, as if a ferocious beast was roaring, looking at Lu Yun and his party with eager eyes. As expected of the county town, it is indeed majestic and majestic. Lu Liangpeng looked at the city in the distance, his eyes full of yearning, and his whole body was full of blood, like a chicken with high morale. Yunshui County is the only city with a radius of hundreds of miles, and its scale is naturally not comparable to that of a small mountain village. The tall and magnificent city walls, with the mottled atmosphere of time and vicissitudes, gave these young people from the mountain village a great visual impression. A sense of impact. Even though Lu Yun had seen tall buildings in his previous life, he couldn't help but be shocked by the magnificence of the city wall in front of him. Haha, this is just a small county. When you pass the martial arts examination, you will have the opportunity to witness the even more majestic Lingwu County. Lu Kang, who was sitting in front of the car, explained. Brother Lu Kang, I heard that there are powerful warriors at the Truchi realm and above in Yunshui County. Wouldn't there be even more powerful warriors in Lingwu County, which is larger than Yunshui County? A rare trace of yearning appeared on Lu Tianyu's face. Color. Lu Kang said slowly. Lingwu County has more than a dozen counties, with a population of tens of millions, and there are so many warriors. As the most prosperous county, it is natural that there are powerful warriors in legends. What kind of realm is it? It's not little people like us, no. However, you may know in the future how high the sky is in Lingwu County, how vast the land is, and how powerful the most powerful warriors are. Quote. That day won't be far away. Lu Yun looked at the city wall in the distance, clenched his fists, and secretly swore in his heart. Although he is only a small martial artist now, he has achieved such results in less than half a year after entering the martial arts. He is very confident about advancing to the realm of Tongmei and above. Moreover, the most important thing is that he has a panel. As long as he accumulates enough energy points, he can climb the peak of martial arts. Go into the city. Don't even think about entering the city when it gets dark. Lu Kang said and drove the carriage forward. Not long after, the carriage followed the flow of people, passed through the city gate, and entered the city. As expected of a county town, even the guards guarding the city gate give people a feeling of invincibility. Lu Liangpeng said with emotion as soon as he entered the city. These guards have at least mastered a third-rate martial arts to perfection, and are wearing armor. The pressure and impact on people will naturally be strong. Liu Kang explained with a smile, and then drove the carriage slowly forward. Entering the county, the first thing they need to do is find an inn to settle down. At this time, there was still some time before the martial arts examination, and the injuries on Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu also needed to find a place to take good care of themselves. Because the martial arts examination is approaching, there are many young girls and boys coming from other villages and towns to take the examination, and there are many martial artists passing through this place, so the inns in the county are full. Lu Yun and others searched for more than a dozen inns before finally settling down, but by this time it was completely dark. For the next period of time, this will be my temporary residence until the assessment begins. After returning to his room, Lu Yun sat on the bed, closed his eyes, and began to practice Hunyuan Gong. Hunyuan Gong. Small success, 4% cannot be improved. Energy points. 0.1. The next morning, after discovering that Hunyuan Gong had improved by 1%, Lu Yun had a satisfied smile on his face. Compared to using energy points to improve martial arts, Lu Yun prefers this method of relying on his own efforts and then becoming stronger. Of course, this is without energy points. After all, if he uses energy points, his power will come faster and easier. Boom. At this moment, there was a knock on the door, and then Lu Yun heard someone calling him. Lu Yun, are you up yet? This was Lu Liangpeng. Lu Yun immediately recognized the other person's voice, then stood up and opened the door. Yunshui County is very lively now, and there are many geniuses gathered together. Would you like to go out and hang out together? As soon as he opened the door, he saw Lu Liangpeng blocking the door, extending an invitation to him. Lu Yun did not give an immediate reply, but folded his arms and looked at Lu Liangpeng. Suddenly his eyes narrowed and he saw Lu Tianyu behind Lu Liangpeng. At this time, Lu Tianyu also looked over, and after meeting Lu Yun's gaze, he immediately curled his lips and said, "Anyway, there is still some time before the assessment, so I have nothing to do. I might as well go out and meet other geniuses, so as to prepare for future assessments." Lu Yun nodded when he heard this, but he wanted to go out and see if he could buy something and accumulate some energy points for himself, so he said, "Okay, let's go out together." Great, the three outstanding figures from Lingxi have made great achievements, Lu Liangpeng said with a smile on his face. Seeing this, Lu Yun immediately shook his head. These three heroes of Lingxi were too worthless. However, he was a little curious. Didn't Lu Liangpeng dislike Lu Tianyu at first? Why did he suddenly change his gender? He was curious, but he didn't ask. The three of them had just walked out of the inn. Lu Yun's eyes focused on the building complex across the street. It was a restaurant, built with great grandeur, like a king standing proudly, overlooking the surrounding building complex. Lu Tianyu followed Lu Yun's line of sight, shrugged and said, "That's the Tenglong restaurant, which is extremely luxurious and specializes in hosting the truly proud people of heaven." Over the years, anyone who could enter the Tenglong restaurant was bound to become a martial arts disciple. Quote. Lu Yun nodded when he heard this. It seemed that in this assessment, their strongest competitors would be born among the geniuses who took over the Tenglong restaurant. At this time, Lu Liangpeng suddenly suggested, "Hey, with your strength and talent, you are qualified to take over this restaurant. Why don't you go over and have a look? If you really take over, we will be proud of it. The inn is pretty good, there's no need to be in the limelight." Lu Yun shook his head and looked away. Just for a place to live, it is necessary to take action for no reason and even risk exposing one's own strength. In Lu Yun's view, this is undoubtedly a stupid approach. However, sometimes you don't look for trouble, but trouble will come to you. HMPH, it's a big joke that you guys from a remote village want to own Tenglong restaurant. A cold snort came from afar. Just when Lu Yun and the others were about to leave, a figure walked over from the direction of Tenglong restaurant, immediately causing an uproar around them. Suddenly someone made rude remarks, and it seemed to be aimed at himself and others. Lu Yun couldn't help but look back curiously, wanting to see what kind of person the other person was. It was a long-haired boy about 13 or 14 years old. He had his hands behind his back and an awe-inspiring look on his face. When he saw the awe and envy looks from around him, he snorted with disdain. This is Mu Qingyan, the young master of Qingfang Villa. It is said that he has entered the late martial arts realm and has reserved a place in the martial arts academy in advance. Seeing this young man, the people around him immediately started talking. When they heard that the young man was already in the late martial arts realm, there were gasps from time to time. Ordinary people, when they become a warrior, they are at least an adult. However, the young master of Qingfang Villa is only 13 or 14 years old. Not only has he become a warrior, but he has also entered the late martial arts realm. Such talent is not available in Yunshui County. Definitely one of the best. A good dog stays out of the way. Where do you country bumpkins come from? Don't you even know this? Mu Qingyan put his hands behind his back and walked forward proudly. When he saw the three of Lu Yun standing in the middle of the avenue, he couldn't help but shouted coldly. You are the dog, and your whole family is a dog. Lu Liangpeng was furious when he heard this and responded with harsh words. Ha ha, Mu Qingyan glanced at him with contempt in his eyes. You are not even a warrior, but you still want to join the martial arts academy. I don't know where you got the courage. I advise you to go back to the poor mountain village, so as not to be embarrassed here. Lu Liangpeng was suddenly shaken by the other party's words and wanted to have a seizure, but was stopped by Lu Yun. The dog bit you, do you want to bite you back? Lu Yun said indifferently, then turned and left. Lu Tianyu tugged on Lu Liangpeng's clothes, and then left quickly. Although the other party was arrogant, he did have the capital to be arrogant. If he and others conflicted with him, he would only suffer the loss. Although Lu Liangpeng was reckless, it did not mean he was ignorant. He understood this deeply, so even though his eyes were still full of anger, he still followed the trend and left. Seeing Lu Yun and others leaving, Mu Qingyan smiled contemptuously. Ha ha, frog in the well. Hey, you need to change your temper. You are no longer in Lingxi village. The village chief and other elders are taking care of you, so nothing will happen to you. But now that I'm out and about, I have to be careful with my words and actions, otherwise I accidentally provoke someone I can't afford to offend. It's a trivial matter for me to die in vain, but it's a big sin if I implicate Lingxi village. Quote. On the way, Lu Tianyu couldn't help but exhorted. That guy is so crazy. He made rude remarks for no reason and even called us dogs. Didn't you hear that? Lu Liangpeng argued. That kind of person looks like a pampered rich man at first glance. He is used to arrogance. We just have to endure it. Anyway, with his temper, one day he will kick the iron plate and it will be too late to regret. Okay, you have a strong point and I can't argue with you. Lu Liangpeng knew that he was wrong and had no intention of continuing to argue with the other party. Lu Yun was taciturn all the way. He didn't want to participate in or comment on the argument between the 2.5-year-old children. He focused on observing the shops on both sides of the street. Yunshui County is a big city, and after wandering for half an hour, they only finished half of the street. At this moment, Lu Yun suddenly stopped and his eyes fell on a shop called Baolintang. Baolintang is luxuriously decorated, and the store is magnificent and stands proudly on the street. There is an endless stream of people coming and going in front of the store, and judging from the clothes, they are all rich or noble people. What attracted Lu Yun's attention was the dazzling variety of bottles displayed in the shop, including porcelain and jade. In addition, he smelled a strong aroma of elixir, which was refreshing. Go in and have a look. Lu Yun looked at it for a moment, then decided to go in and have a look. On the other hand, Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu looked at the luxurious store and touched their shriveled trousers, but they both stopped and did not follow. My guest, what do you need? As soon as Lu Yun entered Baolin Hall, a waiter came up to him and introduced Lu Yun seriously. We have various elixirs here, including but not limited to healing elixirs, qi and blood elixirs, and so on. Pills, power training pills, meridians opening pills, etc. Hello, I want to know what the prices are. If the price is fair and I am satisfied, you will know. Lu Yun said without blushing. The waiter glanced at Lu Yun's outfit, smiled slightly, and said with a smile, Hey, our price at Baolintang is absolutely fair, please feel free to rest assured. After speaking, he took out a booklet and handed it to Lu Yun respectfully. Since there are too many guests to take care of, the guest officer can look at this roster and call at any time if necessary. Okay, Lu Yun took the booklet and began to look through it. Qi and blood pill, its main function is to enhance qi and blood, 1,000 taels of silver per bottle, 12 pills per bottle. The main function of lian is to temper the body and enhance strength. One bottle costs 1,500 taels of silver, and each bottle contains 10 pills. Rejuvenation pill. Its main function is to restore internal and external injuries, a bottle of 2,000 taels of silver, 9 pieces in each bottle. When he saw the Tongmei Dan, Lu Yun couldn't stand it anymore. He immediately closed the book and left Baolin Hall silently. Looking at Lu Yun, who walked out silently with a gloomy face, Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu looked at each other, both showing expressions that were true. I will come back in the future, Lu Yun said silently and continued walking along the street. After another half-quarter of an hour, Lu Yun and the others arrived in front of a medicine shop. This medicine shop is not big, but it is not small either. There is a black plaque hanging on the gray wooden door with the words, Lin Fei Medicine Shop, written on it. There were several customers in the drug store, all of them ordinary civilians. Lu Yun entered the drug store like a regular customer. After casually looking around, I saw a lot of familiar medicinal materials. Perilla, Bupleurum, Cyperus rodentus, Angelica sinensis, Astragalus, Fipang, Huaying, etc. There is no doubt that this is an ordinary drug store, which makes Lu Yun suddenly feel confident about his pocket. After the other customers left, the drug store manager came over. He has his hands behind his back, wearing a gray robe and a gray goatee. Although he is over 60 years old, his body is very strong, his complexion is ruddy, and his steps are light. The shopkeeper came to Lu Yun's side and said with a loud smile, "My little friend, I see that you are strong and have strong energy and blood. It doesn't look like you need to buy ordinary medicinal materials." Shopkeeper, business is business. There are so many problems there, Lu Liangpeng said angrily as he followed. "Haha, my little friend is right, I am indeed rude." The shopkeeper chuckled, and then said to Lu Yun, "What kind of medicinal materials do you need, my little friend? See if my little pharmacy has the medicinal materials you need." Lu Yun held his right arm with his left hand, rubbed his smooth chin, and muttered, "I really don't need ordinary medicinal materials, but medicinal materials such as blood ginseng or Ganoderma lucidum are fine." Hey, blood ginseng or Ganoderma lucidum is one of the main medicinal materials in my pharmacy. Of course they are available. Wait a minute, little friend. I'll be right back. After saying that, the shopkeeper went into the back hall. When he reappeared, he was holding 2 boxes in his arms. He put it on the table and opened it. One of the boxes contained a blood ginseng. This blood ginseng is more than 50 years old. It is very effective in nourishing yang and blood. If I want it, I am willing to bear the pain and give it up. It only costs 100 taels of silver. Immediately, he opened another box and introduced, "This Ganoderma lucidum has the effect of replenishing qi and calming the mind, and replenishing the qi of the lungs and kidneys. It is also over 50 years old. As for the price, I want it all, but I only pay 150 taels of silver." Lu Yun closed the box to prevent the medicine from losing its potency. "Little friend, your price is a bit aggressive." The shopkeeper's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he hesitated while stroking his goatee. 140 taels. Little friend. 130 taels. Small. 120 taels. Okay, just 120 taels. The shopkeeper was so angry that he blew his beard, glared at Lu Yun, and said coldly, "I have never seen anyone bargain like you in my life." Then thank you to the shopkeeper for enduring the pain. Lu Yun quickly took out the silver, and then put away the 2 boxes on the table, for fear that the other party would regret it. Originally, he was ready to borrow money from Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng, but he didn't expect that after some haggling, he got a price that he could afford. "Go out and turn right," the shopkeeper said calmly after taking the money. "Haha, no need to give it away." Lu Yun turned around and left calmly. After leaving the drug store, Lu Liangpeng sighed in a low voice, "Is this still the Lu Yun I know?" Lu Yun's operation just now really stunned this young man who just came out of the mountain village. Lu Tianyu shook his head and laughed, "Perhaps, we have never understood him." After returning to the inn, Lu Kangsheng said, "Yunshui County is a little uneasy during this period. You should not forget to run out and seize the last time to practice hard. There are city guards patrolling the county town. No one dares to cause trouble. Lu Tianyu said with a frown. This world is very chaotic. It's not as simple as you think. In short, you just need to stay in your room and practice. Lu Kangsheng seemed unwilling to reveal too much, and Lu Tianyu was so majestic that he did not dare to continue asking. As for Lu Yun, he had originally planned to go into seclusion and practice hard, so he nodded repeatedly to Lu Kangsheng's words. After Lu Kangsheng ended the conversation, Lu Yun quickly returned to the room, closed the door, and couldn't wait to take the newly bought blood ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum. Soon, Lu Yun finished taking the blood ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum and summoned the attribute panel. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Lingxi Village. Martial arts: perfect Po Feng sword technique, third-rate martial arts, cannot be improved, small success in Hunyuan Gong, 4%. Root bone: 5 stars. Martial arts: entering the middle stage of martial arts realm. Energy points: 3.3. A total of 3.2 energy points have been added, which is a good harvest. After only spending 120 taels of silver, he gained 3.2 energy points. This transaction can be said to be a very good deal for Lu Yun. It seems that I need to collect more money in the future. Lu Yun, who had tasted the benefits for the first time, thought to himself. For other warriors, common medicinal materials such as blood ginseng do not have much effect, and they will not spend money to purchase them. But Lu Yun is different. With a panel plug-in, he can spend less money to buy these medicinal materials to obtain energy points, thereby improving his martial arts. I wonder to what level can this accumulated energy improve Hunyuan Gong. Lu Yun concentrated his attention and began to move behind Hunyuan Gong with a slight movement of his mind. Promote. Half an hour later. Looking at the panel again, it is already different from before. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Lingxi Village. Martial arts: perfect Po Feng sword technique, third-rate martial arts, cannot be improved, Hunyuan Gong is a minor success, 31%. Root bone: 5 stars. Martial arts: entering the middle stage of martial arts realm. Energy points: 0.3. Sure enough, 3 energy points can only increase Xiaocheng's Hunyuan Gong by 27%. On average, every energy point can only increase 9% of the practice progress. However, Lu Yun is very satisfied with such progress. If he had to practice hard on his own, it would take at least a month. This is when he has a 5-star root bone. The height of the root bone constantly determines the upper limit of a warrior, and also restricts the speed of a warrior's cultivation. If it were Lu Tianyu and others who were not very good at it, it would probably take more time. Now that Hunyuan Gong has been completed, Lu Yun estimates that he is now stronger than the average mid-level martial artist. Certainly, without a real fight, he couldn't be 100% sure. After all, since his training, he has only fought against one warrior, but the opponent was only in the early stages of entering the martial arts realm. There are still more than 10 days left before the assessment. Although we can't practice Hunyuan Gong to perfection, we can't be idle either. Lu Yun put away the panel and thought to himself. After making up his mind, he began to practice hard behind closed doors. Except for 3 meals a day, he rarely goes out. The more Lu Kangsheng looked at Lu Yun, who was already talented and practiced hard, the more satisfied he became. He provided animal meat to Lu Yun every day to supplement his nutrition. Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpang were not idle either. After taking the medicinal bath, they still had a lot of power left in their bodies that they still needed to absorb. While Lu Yun and others were practicing hard, the atmosphere in Yunshui County became more and more lively, and there were young people and warriors from all over the place every day. 10 days later, the magistrate of Yunshui County welcomed 2 distinguished guests to his house. The 2 distinguished guests have worked hard all the way, and the county has prepared a rich dinner to entertain you. Yunshui County Magistrate Zhang Hongji is over 40, but he looks very young, like a young man in the prime of life, exuding the charm of a faint lingering power. As the lord of a county, he possesses strong martial arts skills, but he does not dare to maintain his identity when facing the 2 distinguished guests from the Martial Arts Academy. Next to Zhang Hongji, there was an elegant middle-aged man. There was a heroic spirit between his brows, and his status seemed to be not much worse than Zhang Hongji's. This is Han Zhuang, the county lieutenant of my Yunshui County. He is responsible for the security, public security and leadership of the government officials throughout the county. You're welcome, Magistrate Zhang. Our junior brothers are entrusted by the Martial Arts Academy to preside over the assessment of Yunshui County. We also need the help of Magistrate Zhang and County Lieutenant Han. Lin Fei, a disciple of the Martial Arts Academy in a silver robe, smiled lazily. He said with cupped hands. There was another martial arts disciple who came with him. He looked very young, about 16 years old. He was very handsome and had a cold expression. He didn't say a word while Lin Chen, Zhang Hongji and others were being polite. Word. Presumably this is the talented young Meng Hongfei who became a member of the Hall of Stars just 3 years after entering the academy. Zhang Hongji complimented at the banquet. Meng Hongfei nodded lightly and did not reply, which made Zhang Hongji a little embarrassed. Seeing this scene, Lin Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. County Magistrate Zhang made a good guess. I, junior brother Meng, have just entered the Hall of Stars, and it is a good time to join me in taking charge of this Yunshui County assessment. Zhang Hongji is a sensible person and will not hold on to this point. After all, among martial arts disciples, anyone who can enter the Hall of Stars is a master of the true Qi realm, a 1 in a million genius. Even if they cannot make friends, they cannot offend them. Both of them are the proud sons of our Lingwu County. They are extraordinary in style. I'm afraid they are not too far away from the realm of Wanyuan. County Captain Han Zhuang changed the subject without leaving any trace. Lieutenant Han is joking. If you want to step into the realm of transformation, you must change your true temperament and convert it into true essence. I wonder how many people are trapped in this step and cannot break through. Lin Chen shook his head and smiled bitterly. County Magistrate Zhang Hongji said indifferently, compared to others, both of them are the geniuses of the Martial Arts Hall of Stars, so they will definitely not be trapped in this step. After the banquet, Lin Chen and Meng Hongfei were treated as distinguished guests and arranged in the guest room. It was late at night, with stars twinkling and bright moonlight spreading all over the earth. Junior brother, what do you think of this County Magistrate Zhang? At this time, Lin Chen was no longer lazy and casual as he was at the banquet before, and his temperament became extremely sharp. Looking at his appearance, he should have no connection with the cult, but we need to investigate it in detail. If it is true, this mission will be a bit troublesome. Meng Hongfei gently opened the window and looked at the bright silver moon hanging in the sky. They came to Yunshui County this time, not just to be responsible for the assessment of recruiting disciples. If it was just a general assessment, they could send an old disciple of the Martial Academy, and there was no need for their 2 genius disciples of the Star Hall to come in person. In my opinion, one of Zhang Hongji and Han Zhuang must have a problem. Who it is will be revealed tomorrow. Lin Chen's eyes flashed with a cold light, and then he sneered. Time passed quickly. When the sky just turned pale, the whole Yunshui County was boiling. Many young geniuses gathered together, like a torrent, rushing in the same direction. Today, I, Zhang Fadada, will be famous in Yunshui County. After so many years of hard practice, my great compassion palm is finally perfected, just for this day. One after another, heroic young men and ambitious geniuses walked out of different inns and restaurants. They are all a bunch of losers, but they also want to be famous. At this time, a group of powerful figures walked out of the Tenglong Hotel. Each of them was a genius who showed the style of a strong man. It is them, the geniuses who can make the Tenglong restaurant open their beds to welcome them. Seeing the dozens of figures walking out together, the whole street fell into a dead silence, and the eyes of the people on the street were all hot. Because these people will definitely pass the assessment, become disciples of the Martial Arts Academy, and become famous in Yunshui County from then on. You will all be my stepping stones. Among the dozens of figures, the heroic Mu Qingyan raised his head high, full of arrogance, and his powerful aura shocked the crowd. Ignorance is not terrible, but blind arrogance is pathetic. A young figure walked out of Tenglong restaurant again. He had sword eyebrows and star eyes, and his temperament was extraordinary. He had a cold and fierce aura and an invincible momentum. Among the many young people, he seemed to be a scorching sun, and the other geniuses were completely a foil. It's Xiao Chen. It is said that he has reached the Tongmei realm, and his swordsmanship is very terrifying. When he was still in the martial arts realm, he could kill Tongmei realm warriors by leaps and bounds. There was a discussion among the crowd. Martial arts. Perfection of wind-breaking blade technique, third-rate martial arts, cannot be upgraded. Minor success of Hunyuan Gong, 54%. In the inn room, Lu Yun, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed, suddenly opened his eyes, and his pupils flashed with a brilliant light, which was extremely deep, and he did not look like a boy under 11 years old at all. Today is the assessment period. Lu Yun was a little excited. It has been almost half a year since he came to this world. He has been staying in the mountain village, and most of the people he has come into contact with are ordinary people and low-level warriors. Now, as long as he passes the assessment, he can completely enter the world of warriors and get in touch with the ways and opportunities to advance to a higher level of martial arts. For this goal, he will go all out, and no one can stop him. With the help of the hard training in the past half-month and the accumulated energy points, the progress of Hunyuan Gong's practice will be improved to minor success 54, which is one step closer to major success. Lu Yun's mind moved slightly, and powerful blood and qi surged, and powerful power gushed out with every move. If he met the horse bandit again, Lu Yun was confident that he could kill him with 2 swords. His confidence mainly comes from Hunyuan Gong, a top-notch second-rate martial art. Just a small success made Lu Yun feel that he was in the middle stage of the martial arts realm and was not afraid of anyone. After washing up and putting on the new clothes that his sister had prepared for him, Lu Yun pushed the door and walked out. A good saddle goes with a good horse, and black clothes go with a young man. Lu Yun, who was dressed in black, had just gone out when Lu Liangpeng, who had been waiting outside for a long time, came to greet him. Lu Yun, you finally came out. The village chief and the others are waiting impatiently. We have to hurry up and set off. Lu Yun smiled apologetically. Sorry, I kept you waiting. When he came to the first floor of the inn, he saw Lu Kangsheng, Lu Kang and Lu Tianyu. They were not as impatient as Lu Liangpeng said. It's still early, let's eat something and fill our stomachs. Lu Kang asked Lu Yun to sit down, and there were 3 bowls of strengthening soup on the table. There are 5 people here, but only 3 bowls of strengthening soup, which is obviously specially prepared for Lu Yun, Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu. The 3 teenagers were not shy or polite, and quickly solved it under Lu Kangsheng's gaze. I wish you a successful start today and get what you want. After Lu Kangsheng encouraged them, they left the inn together. There were still many teenagers and warriors on the street, which seemed very lively. They all went to the central square of the county town, which was the location of the Martial Arts Academy assessment. On the way, Lu Yun learned some news from Lu Kangsheng. First, during the days when they were in seclusion and practicing hard, Yunshui County was not very peaceful. There were traces of cult activities. The county's constables were often dispatched, and even the city guards participated in it, but they never got anything. Lu Yun was a little surprised. He had heard about the cult before, but he knew less about it. As far as he knew, there were many evil cults in the Great Yuan dynasty, and the most powerful one was the Red Moon Demon cult, but its influence did not reach Lingwu County. Later, Lu Kangsheng revealed that Lu Yun finally understood that the rampant evil cult in Lingzhou was the White Lotus cult, which was also one of the more powerful evil cults in the Great Yuan dynasty. Lingwu County was one of the subordinate counties under the jurisdiction of Lingzhou. For many years, the followers of the White Lotus cult were quite active, infiltrating various parties, causing considerable trouble to the county government. Second, there were many geniuses participating in the Martial Arts Academy assessment this time, and many of them had become formal warriors, and there were even geniuses in the Tongmei realm. The competition was unprecedentedly fierce. Tongmei realm, Lu Yun's eyes flashed. There were restrictions on participating in the Martial Arts Academy assessment. The first restriction was that the age was not higher than 15 years old. In other words, the age of that Tongmei realm warrior was not much older than Lu Yun, and would definitely not be more than 15 years old. Even if he was exactly 15 years old, he was still a 15-year-old Tongmei realm warrior, which was scary to think about. In the entire Lingxi village, there is no Tongmei realm warrior except Lu Kangsheng. It can be seen that the Tongmei realm is a threshold. In some small places, it is the most powerful existence. I have also heard of that Tongmei realm genius. It seems to be called Xiao Chen. He is a sword genius with a terrifying talent for fighting above his level. When he entered the martial arts realm, he killed no less than a handful of Tongmei realm warriors. Lu Kang said in a deep voice. killing Tongmei realm warriors above their level. Lu Liangpeng took a breath and said in an uncertain tone, "This kind of genius actually appeared in our Yunshui County. It's incredible." Lu Tianyu was silent for a while, and Lu Kang saw it and comforted him. "Don't be discouraged, you are now very close to being a warrior, and there is a great hope of passing the assessment." "Thank you, brother Lu Kang." Lu Tianyu forced an ugly smile. "Is there really hope?" Lu Tianyu sighed secretly in his heart, and his eyes quietly glanced at the black-clothed boy in front of him. "He's obviously much younger than me, but he's already a warrior. Is this the difference in talent?" He shook his head slightly and continued to move forward with a lot of thoughts in his mind. Lu Yun didn't know what Lu Tianyu was thinking, and he didn't want to know. He just wanted to see who the only Tongmei realm warrior was, the sword genius who had the ability to fight against opponents of higher levels. "Although I'm only in the middle stage of the martial arts realm now, as long as I'm given time, Tongmei realm will definitely not be a problem. But, can I beat Tongmei realm warriors of higher levels when I enter the martial arts realm?" Lu Yun thought to himself, but soon shook his head. He still had enough self-knowledge about his own strength. It was unlikely that he would kill Tongmei realm by leaps and bounds when he entered the Wu realm. Unless, after entering the Wu Academy, he got other opportunities, such as practicing more powerful martial arts. Today, the county town was full of people. A large number of people rushed to the central square to watch the Wu Academy recruit disciples for examination, causing the streets to quickly become deserted. Soon, Lu Yun and his party arrived at the central square. Lu Yun swept his eyes and found that the central square was full of vigor and very wide. It was about the size of 10 football fields, enough to accommodate tens of thousands of people. In Zongxing Square, young boys and girls held their heads high and were full of vigor. Outside the square, there were many black-armored city guards and many constables. They were holding weapons and heavy crossbows to isolate other warriors and spectators outside the venue. In order to maintain public order, the city guards and a group of constables were also arranged to the central square to maintain the order of the examination. "Those who are taking the test should enter the square in order, and the rest of you should wait outside." As soon as Lu Yun and his men approached, a city guard shouted. Lu Kangsheng paused and said earnestly, "Xiao Kang and I will take you here, and everything that comes next will depend on you." When they parted, Lu Kang also clenched his fist and encouraged, "Come on, bring honor to our Lingxi village. We will definitely do our best and not let the village chief and brother Lu Kang down." Lu Liangpeng smiled, which was also a way to cheer himself up. Thousands of people took the test, and it was impossible for him to say that there was no certain pressure. Among the three, only Lu Yun had absolute confidence. "Those who are taking the test, come and stand up, and don't wait for those who are late." A loud voice sounded, covering all the noisy sounds and clearly reaching everyone's ears. The boys and girls gathered quickly, and Lu Yun, Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng also went over and stood at the back of the team. As time passed, the team became larger and larger, and soon exceeded 1,000. The people in the front should be the geniuses who live in Tenglong restaurant. Even the gathering is led by them. It seems that these people are famous and valued by the county. Lu Yun narrowed his eyes. In the whole team, there are 16 figures standing proudly, keeping a certain distance from everyone. Among them is Mu Qingyan, who had a quarrel with Lu Yun and others. At this time, most of the warriors or spectators watching the excitement outside the field are focusing their eyes on the 16 young men with heroic figures. Lu Yun was not surprised. He looked at the 16 Tianzhao, trying to find the sword genius who fought above his level. After watching for a long time, he didn't find anything. He had to look away helplessly. This is also normal. Any of the 16 young men has a higher cultivation than Lu Yun, and their temperament is also outstanding. Without deliberately releasing their aura, it is impossible to tell who is the strongest person. At this moment, many young men and women in the central square suddenly became agitated. Lu Yun followed the gaze of the crowd and saw 4 figures walking in from the entrance at the same time. These people are definitely far above the Tongmei realm. Lu Yun was awed. He had felt the explosion of Lu Kangsheng, who was in the middle stage of the Tongmei realm, at close range, but from these 4 people, he felt a vast aura that was far above Lu Kangsheng in the past. And this was just a trace of aura released casually without the other party making a move. "It's the county magistrate, the county lieutenant, and 2 talented disciples from the martial arts academy. The martial artists watching were excited. The county magistrate and the county lieutenant are the most powerful figures in Yunshui County, and their strength is also the top. They are strong men at the peak of the Junshi realm. And the 2 talented disciples from the martial arts academy are certainly not weaker than the Junshi realm. In this way, a full 4 Junshi realm strong men gathered together, which is rare in a place like Yunshui County. Under the excited gazes of the crowd, 4 Qi realm masters came to the high platform of the square and sat down, looking down at the crowd on the square. Sitting in the first place was Lin Chen, a genius disciple of the martial academy. With a glance, the lively and excited atmosphere of the whole place suddenly condensed. This assessment is divided into 3 items. The first item is bone age and identity verification. On the high platform, Lin Chen's voice mixed with qi spread and resounded throughout the square. As Lin Chen finished speaking, Meng Hongfei beside him walked down from the high platform and walked towards the assessment team. My name is Meng Hongfei, a disciple of the Martial Arts Academy. I am jointly responsible for the assessment in Yunshui County with senior brother Lin. The first item of the assessment is very simple. As long as you have no problems, you should all be able to pass. Meng Hongfei looked at everyone and suddenly showed a cold smile. However, if you fail the test, the consequences may be a bit serious. Upon noticing Meng Hongfei's cold smile, all the young girls felt a shudder deep in their hearts. Why do I have a bad feeling? Senior brother is just joking with us. That's right, if you fail the test, at most you won't be able to join the martial arts academy. A group of teenagers began to discuss, which invisibly dispelled the fear in their hearts. Okay, let's start the test now. Meng Hongfei stopped everyone's discussion. With a wave of his hand, 2 black armored soldiers carried it to a table. Then he took out a black crystal ball, which exuded a faint mysterious light. There was an inexplicable miraculous. This is the Tongshuan crystal. It was developed by the Imperial Patrol Department with great effort. This is the first time it has been used. I won't tell you the specific effects. You guys line up, register your identity in order, and then leave in front of the Tongshuan crystal. Just pass. The changes in the Tongshuan crystal will vary from person to person in a while, and eventually there will be 3 different colors. Then you can stand in 3 queues according to the colors. In addition, the identity registration must not be incorrect, otherwise you will be responsible for the consequences. Meng Hongfei put his hands behind his back and said sternly. Yes, all the boys and girls nodded in agreement. There was only 1 Tongshuan crystal ball, so more than 1,000 examiners took the exam one by one. Information registration includes name, age, and affiliation. It is very simple, so the entire testing process does not take long. The first person to come forward to register for the test was a young man with sword-shaped eyebrows and starry eyes. Seeing this person, Lu Yun frowned slightly, as this person Xiao Chen, the kendo prodigy who leapfrogged the competition. There were many people talking in low voices and frequently looking at Xiao Chen, and Lu Yun learned the other person's identity. If you look closely, you will see that this person is indeed a bit extraordinary. He does not look big, but his aura is condensed and his temperament is like a sharp sword. He walked forward, made a brief registration, and walked past the Tongshuan crystal, shrouded in mysterious light. Immediately, 13 star-shaped patterns appeared on the Tongshuan crystal, and the entire crystal ball shone with dazzling yellow light. During the whole process, the black armored soldiers and the 4 powerful men in the true energy realm did not say a word. Xiao Chen walked over calmly and found a free place to stand with his hands behind his back. Immediately afterwards, those talented young people who also entered Tenglong restaurant registered for the test one after another. Among them, the number of star-shaped patterns appearing on the Tongshuan crystal does not exceed 15, and the minimum is 12. The entire crystal ball was also shining with dazzling yellow light. According to the previous instructions of Meng Hongfei, a strong man in the true energy realm, they all took the initiative to stand behind Xiao Chen. Seeing that these people passed the test so easily, other people put down their guard and registered for the test with confidence and boldness. Among them, when most people passed through the Tongshuan crystal, the number of star-shaped lights that appeared on it did not exceed 15, and the minimum number was 10. The crystal ball also shone with dazzling yellow light. As for the remaining few people, two different situations did occur when they passed in front of the Tongshuan crystal ball. First, 10 to 15 different numbers of star-shaped patterns appeared on the Tongshuan crystal ball, but they were all shining with dazzling red light. Secondly, the Tongshuan crystal suddenly burst into white light, and in the end not a single star-shaped pattern appeared. The assessors who caused these two different situations in Tongshuan crystal naturally stood in a queue again. Both cohorts were small. Half an hour later, it was Lu Yun's turn. Lu Yun, 10 years old, Lingxi village. After simply registering his information, Lu Yun walked past the crystal ball. Enveloped by the mysterious light emitted by the Tongshuan crystal ball, Lu Yun felt a warm feeling, as if he was being gently touched by a warm big hand. Before Lu Yun could react, 10 star patterns appeared on the Tongshuan crystal, and then flashed with dazzling yellow light. Seeing this scene, Lu Yun somehow felt relieved. Slowly walking to the queue with the largest number of people, Lu Yun suddenly recalled what the young martial arts disciple said at the beginning. If he failed to pass the test, the consequences might be serious. The number of star-shaped patterns should represent age, so what do the three flashing colors of red, yellow and white in the crystal ball represent? With such doubts, Lu Yun silently glanced in the direction of the other two queues. Hey, I passed the first test too. Suddenly, Lu Liangpeng patted Lu Yun on the shoulder, pulling him out of his thoughts. We all passed the first test, so we should be happy, but why do you look so worried? Lu Liangpeng noticed Lu Yun's abnormality and asked. Lu Yun would not express his inner speculation, but simply said calmly, most people can pass the first test, which means that the second or third test is ridiculously competitive, and there is nothing to be happy about. Oh, is that so? Lu Liangpeng was a little confused and said embarrassedly, anyway, we passed the first test. Even if we are eliminated in the end, we will not be ashamed. Not long after, the first test was completed. 3 queues appeared in the whole square. Lu Yun's queue was the largest, with more than 1,000 people. The other 2 queues were the examinees whose Tongshuan crystal balls flashed red and white light respectively. The former had a total of 10 people, and the latter had 23 people. Lu Yun vaguely noticed that the faces of the young men in these 2 queues were a little wrong. There were worries, tensions, and fears. Anyway, it was unclear, but what was certain was that under the layers of surveillance of the black heavy armor city guards, they dared not make any unusual moves. Zhang County Magistrate, Han County Lieutenant, what do you say, if someone does not listen to the advice, lies about his age to participate in the test, and delays our time? At this time, Lin Chen on the high platform said loudly. It's very simple, just kill him. County Magistrate Zhang Hongji said coldly. The County Lieutenant Han Zhuang, who was dressed in a green robe and showed his elegant demeanor, smiled and said, this is not good. These young people just yearned for the martial arts academy, so they took the risk to try. However, they did not listen to the advice and wasted our time. We cannot indulge them. Each of them will be punished with 20 military sticks. Since County Lieutenant Han has a compassionate heart, it is not good for this county to go against your wishes. Let's do as you say. Zhang Hongji turned back to Lin Chen and said, what do you think, little friend Lin? Haha, of course. Lin Chen smiled playfully, but guess which team of examinees is the one who lied about their age? This. Zhang Hongji frowned slightly. This is the first time I have seen this Tongshuan crystal, and I don't know its specific use. Han Zhuang was silent, with a barely perceptible light flashing in his eyes. The many young people waiting for the test results in the square did not know that in this short period of time, the lives of some of them were decided by several Junqi realm warriors in a casual conversation. Looking at the several Qi realm warriors on the high platform, and then at Meng Hongfei who was in front of him with a cold look, Lu Yun felt that his premonition was getting stronger and stronger. Come here, beat the 23 people with 20 military sticks each and expel them from the examination room. At this moment, Lin Chen's voice mixed with Qi echoed in the central square, clearly reaching everyone's ears, and immediately caused a commotion. Lu Yun looked up and saw a team of soldiers wearing heavy black armor coming in and taking the 23 teenagers away. Then, there was a crackling sound of sticks and tragic wails. All this happened in a flash, but most of the people present were smart people and had some guesses in their hearts. Wow, this is too miserable. Lu Liangpeng couldn't help but touch his buttocks, imagining the scene of his buttocks blooming, and couldn't help shaking his head. This is probably just the beginning. Lu Yun looked at another queue again. There were only 10 people in that queue. During the previous test, the Tongshuan crystal emitted a dazzling red light. The 23 young men, after being beaten with 20 military sticks, all looked half dead. They were dragged out of the square by the black armored soldiers, which was even more miserable. Their families or elders were heartbroken, but they dared not say much. It was not right to lie about their age to participate in the Martial Arts Academy assessment. Okay, let's start the second assessment, Han Zhuang said. Zhang Hongji looked at the rising sun and said in agreement, well, it's getting late, we have to hurry up. No hurry, it's not over yet. Lin Chen shook his head. What do you mean, little friend Lin? Zhang Hongji frowned. Lin Chen smiled and said, isn't there another team that has not been dealt with? Huh, Zhang Hongji asked in confusion. Did they also lie about their age? No, they are 10 or 100 times more serious than lying about their age. Lin Chen gradually restrained his smile. His voice was cold and gloomy, full of murderous intent. I forgot to tell you too that the Tongshuan crystal is a product of the Tianzun division's research at great expense. It is not just as simple as testing bone age. Its biggest function is to detect the aura of the cult. As long as it is contaminated with the aura of the cult, the Tongshuan crystal will emit a dazzling red light. When these 10 people were tested, the Tongshuan crystal emitted a dazzling red light. They must be spies arranged by the cult. What? These people are all cult spies, can't it be wrong? Zhang Hongji's face was full of disbelief. 800 years ago, the founding emperor of the Yuan dynasty unified the world and established the Yuan dynasty. The army swept across the world, eliminated the sects in the world, took over martial arts, and established martial arts academies in various states and counties to accept talents from all over the world. Since then, the world has been unified, and all talents have returned to the court. In the territory of the Yuan dynasty, the remaining religious forces were regarded as cults, and the Tianzun division was set up to patrol the world and eliminate the cult forces. But as time passed, the internal contradictions of the Yuan dynasty became increasingly serious, the cult forces gradually revived, and the cult spies infiltrated the court. As a base for cultivating talents, the Martial Academy is naturally the best place for infiltration, and naturally it has attracted great attention from the court and the patrol department. However, can we detect that the other party is a spy of the cult just by relying on such a crystal? Let me tell you that the Martial Academy has discovered hundreds of cult spies through a large-scale investigation some time ago, but the news has been temporarily blocked, so you just don't know. From now on, the Tongshuan crystal will not only be officially included in the assessment items for recruiting disciples in the Martial Academy, but will also be used extensively in the patrol guard. Lin Chen's tone was gloomy, and his eyes swept across Han Zhuang and Zhang Hongji, giving people a feeling of choosing people to devour. In the square, Lu Yun's eyes condensed, and he felt that Meng Hongfei's breath seemed to have changed slightly. Swish! Sure enough, a knife shadow flashed in Lu Yun's eyes and sword, and he didn't see it clearly at all. Only vaguely saw that a knife came out, like a startling swan piercing the sun. The knife wind like a silk thread left a long trace on the square. Scarlet blood splashed out. Then, the 10 young men fell to the ground, without a breath. What a terrifying sword technique! Lu Yun murmured. Meng Hongfei's speed and sharp sword technique completely exceeded Lu Yun's imagination, making him feel almost suffocated. Quiet as a virgin, moving like a dragon. It seemed like a simple sword, but it was immeasurable, like a green dragon going out of the sea, swift and strange. Standing at the head of the queue, Xiao Chen couldn't help but clench his palms and subconsciously approach the 3-foot green peak on his waist. However, he soon stopped this boring action. Although he was confident, it didn't mean he was arrogant. These people are all cult spies, and I killed them on the spot. According to the registration information just now, you can follow the clues and catch the cult forces in one fell swoop. Meng Hongfei ordered the head of the police beside him. Yes, Wang Qi, the head of the Yunshui County Police, did not object to the words of Meng Hongfei, the genius disciple of the Martial Arts Academy, and took it for granted. Brothers, it's time to make meritorious deeds. Follow me and leave quickly. After Wang Qi copied a list of information, he led a group of police officers to leave quickly. Watching this scene happen one after another, many young people in the square looked at each other, feeling that everything happened too suddenly and was in a fog. Just when they thought that all this was about to end, a familiar voice echoed in the square again. We came to Yunshui County this time. In addition to being responsible for the assessment of martial arts academy disciples, we also have another task, which is to investigate the infiltration of Yunshui County government by evil cult forces. Lin Chen jumped from the high platform. The moment he landed, the huge impact force caused the bluestone on the ground to crack. He walked slowly to the side of the Tongshuan crystal and held it in his hand. Meng Hongfei also stepped forward and stood shoulder to shoulder with him, with a cold expression. What do you mean? Zhang Hongji's tone was somewhat unfriendly. He vaguely realized that Lin Chen and Meng Hongfei seemed to be targeting him. Of course, I asked the two adults to prove their innocence and clear their connection with the cult. Meng Hongfei swung his long sword horizontally, and the cold light flashed. Under the reflection of the sun, it was extremely dazzling. Do you think that Han County Magistrate and I are cult spies? Zhang Hongji's tone gradually became colder. He slowly stood up and stared at him. Lin Chen was not afraid. He said lightly, "It's just a suspicion, so I hope you two can prove your innocence. As for the method, I believe you also know." Humph, what a disgrace. What is the status of Zhang County Magistrate? How can you two immature boys casually frame and slander us? Han Zhuang slapped the table and stood up from his seat. His whole body changed abruptly, sharp and sharp, without any previous elegance. Zhang Hongji's expression softened slightly, but he still didn't look very good. He snorted coldly and said, "This county respects you as disciples of the Martial Arts Academy and geniuses of Arlingwu County, so I will cooperate with you and treat you as honored guests. But this does not mean you can indulge yourself in front of this county." Haha, Magistrate Zhang thinks that a disciple of the Martial Arts Academy is not qualified, right? Lin Chen smiled slightly, and then took out a sign from his waist. The brand was golden yellow in color and was no bigger than a palm. On the back was a python, ferocious, and on the front were engraved 3 seal-shaped characters, surveying the Sky Guard. First level Sky Patrol Guards. Are you from the Sky Patrol Division? After seeing the golden sign, Zhang Hongji's expression suddenly changed. Han Zhuang also trembled slightly and looked around inadvertently. The Tianxian Division is not only responsible for cleaning up the evil cult forces, but also has the power to supervise all officials. From top to bottom, the Sky Patrol Division consists of 3rd-level Sky Patrol Guards, 3rd-level Patrol Angels, and the most responsible person, the Director. Among them, the lowest-ranking 1st-level Patrol Guard is equivalent to a 7th-rank Imperial official. When he is responsible for investigating and dealing with cult forces, he can mobilize all officials at the same level and below. Although Zhang Hongji was a county magistrate and a 7th-rank official, Han Zhuang had a lower rank, only a 7th-rank official. The Tianxian Division suspects that the Yunshui County government officials have been infiltrated by cult forces, and has specially ordered me to come and verify it. Now I ask you two adults to cooperate. Lin Chen put away his identity card. His tone was stern, and he looked businesslike. Meng Hongfei stared closely at Zhang Hongji and Han Zhuang. As long as the other party made the slightest move, he would immediately take them down with a thunderous force. When the Tianzun Division is doing something, I will naturally cooperate with you. Not to mention that the rank of the 1st-level Sky Patrol Guard does not need to be low. Simply because the Sky Patrol Department has the power of life and death over officials below the 3rd rank, it is enough for him to cooperate obediently. If you don't cooperate, the consequences will be serious. At worst, the Black Gauze Hat will not be saved, but at worst, the whole family will be killed. There have been cases like this in the past, and the most serious cases even implicated 9 ethnic groups. It is also because of this that the reputation of the Tianxian Division is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. No matter how powerful the person is, they do not want to go against it easily. In this way, under the supervision and coercion of Lin Chen and Meng Hongfei, Zhang Hongji stepped forward cooperatively. Tongshuan crystal can only be effective after close contact with the target, identifying whether the other party is involved in the cult forces. Taking a deep breath, Zhang Hongji walked to the Tongshuan crystal. He didn't tell lies before. He really didn't know anything about Tongshuan crystal, and he didn't know whether it was reliable. Once an accident occurs, the consequences will be serious. After a few breaths, the Tongshuan crystal finally changed, producing a dazzling white light. Although he didn't know the specific principle of the Tongshuan crystal's effectiveness, after what happened before, he knew that if red light emitted, he would be in danger. Fortunately, it was not the case. Zhang Hongji took a deep breath and chuckled. This county is loyal to the court and is incompatible with the evil cult forces. If the two adults give orders, this county will actively cooperate. Haha, that's trouble for Magistrate Zhang. Seeing that Zhang Hongji was not a cult spy, Lin Chen's attitude also changed. Before that, he and Meng Hongfei had the deepest suspicion of Zhang Hongji. As the highest official of Yunshui County, Zhang Hongji has many powerful forces. If he is a member of a cult, the impact and aspects involved will be huge, and it will be more troublesome for them to deal with it. Now that Zhang Hongji has been cleared of suspicion, the difficulty of their mission has been reduced. Lieutenant Han County, what are you waiting for? Come quickly to clear your suspicions, and then continue with the subsequent assessment. Seeing that it had taken a lot of time, the Martial Arts Academy examination had just begun with the first item, and Zhang Hongji couldn't help but urge it. In the central square, the sun was shining brightly. A group of young boys and girls looked at each other, at a loss. All these changes came too fast, and they were caught off guard. First, those who lied about their age and took the test were beaten with 20 military sticks each and kicked out of the square. Later, 10 testers were said to be spies of the cult and were killed by force. Now the two Martial Arts Academy disciples in charge of the assessment transformed into patrol guards and forced the two highest officials of Yunshui County to prove their innocence. All this undoubtedly bombarded their cognition. Does it really have to be like this? Han Zhuang sighed slightly and stood quietly in place. If the other party was not a patrol guard, he could find all kinds of reasons to not go through the Tongshuan crystal test. But once the patrol token came out, his retreat was completely blocked. But until now, Han Zhuang still didn't know why the Tongshuan crystal suddenly appeared, and it could also detect whether it was a cult member. The strangeness of Han Zhuang immediately made the atmosphere of the whole scene solidify. The city guards, wearing heavy armor and holding heavy crossbows, looked solemn at this time, but no one dared to move. They knew very well that although the county lieutenant was their highest officer, they had to obey the order of the Sky Patrol even if they were asked to kill their own officers. This was the deterrence of the Sky Patrol and the power of the Sky Patrol. Moreover, judging from the current situation, their county lieutenant might be a member of the cult. Han County Lieutenant, you. Zhang Hongji looked at Han Zhuang, as if he wanted to confirm something. Slowly walked forward, Han Zhuang looked at Zhang Hongji, who was full of disbelief, and said indifferently, people like you who are idle and have no ambition can always stay above me. This shows the injustice of the court. Since the court is unfair, how can I not find another way out? As soon as he finished speaking, a strong momentum burst out from Han Zhuang's body. His clothes fluttered, his black hair fluttered, and the bluestone under his feet trembled and shattered layer by layer. Faced with such a powerful burst of momentum, the young men and women participating in the assessment retreated one after another, and the scene was extremely chaotic. Lu Yun quietly retreated and moved closer to the heavily armored city guards. In his opinion, there might be a fierce battle next, and the closer he got to Lin Chen and others, the more dangerous it would be. A true Qi realm warrior was someone he could not estimate at the moment, not to mention Han Zhuang, who seemed to be more powerful than the true Qi realm. What? Why Yuan realm? Looking at the red gas surrounding Han Zhuang, Zhang Hongji's heart sank. That was the true essence, a unique sign of a Yuan realm warrior. Although shocked, he remained calm on the surface and bowed to Lin Chen and said, "My two lords, Han Zhuang is already a Yuan realm warrior. I'm afraid it will take the combined strength of the three of us to fight him." Hearing this, Lin Chen's mouth curled up a subtle smile. Why do we need the three of us to join forces? County Magistrate Zhang and junior brother Meng will help me to prevent the other party from escaping or hurting others. After saying that, the smile on his face disappeared, and then frost covered him, white true energy surrounded him, and a roar shook the square. Han Zhuang, you colluded with the evil cult and betrayed the court, you plead guilty. The voice was loud, not only echoing among the young men and the city guards, but also heard by the warriors watching the battle far outside the square. Among them, some warriors quietly retreated in the crowd and were not noticed by others. You are also a Yuanhua realm warrior. Han Zhuang's face turned ugly. You are worthy of being the pride of the Star Hall of the Martial Academy. With your strength, you are enough to serve as a second-level Sky Patrol guard even in the Sky Patrol division. As long as I kill you and eliminate the evil cult forces in Yunshui County, I will be a second-level Sky Patrol guard. As soon as the words fell, the knife came out. The cold true energy burst out, and the moment the long knife slashed in the air, it seemed that ice flowers condensed in the air, and the square under the scorching sun actually made people feel the coldness. Facing this knife, Han Zhuang was horrified. After joining the White Lotus sect, he obtained a lot of resources. He has transformed his true chi into true essence and promoted to the Yuanhua realm. He is almost invincible in Yunshui County. He did not take the two genius disciples from the Star Hall of the Martial Academy seriously. After his identity was revealed, he was also relaxed. It was not until Lin Chen burst out with the cultivation of the Yuanhua realm that he began to pay attention to him. But he did not expect that when Lin Chen burst out completely, his strength would be so strong that it made him tremble, so strong that he lost his composure and even had no time to dodge. Bang! With a scream, accompanied by the spilling of bright red blood, an arm fell heavily on the bluestone ground. Han Zhuang pulled back. At this moment, he had been cut off by Lin Chen's sudden knife, and the remaining cold true essence eroded the wound, making him pale with pain. We are both in the Yuanhua realm, why are you so strong? Han Zhuang gritted his teeth when he spoke. They were both in the Yuanhua realm, but the gap between them was so huge that he had no power to resist. Lin Chen's hand holding the knife shook slightly, and the blood on the blade solidified and turned into blood clots, which scattered on the ground as the blade trembled. You who rely on external forces to break through, how can you know how powerful the true essence is after the true chi is tempered to the extreme? But it doesn't matter, you can feel its power and terror carefully. As the voice fell, the long knife had slashed out again. Compared with the previous one, this knife was equally chilling, almost freezing the hot air around it. The long knife fell with a brilliant white blade light and broke through the air. A strange smile appeared on Han Zhuang's face. Although you are very strong, I want to leave, and you can't stop me. After saying that, his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot. When the long knife fell, it chopped into the air and lifted the bluestone on the ground. At the same time, a stunning figure came out, like a blue dragon out of the sea, raising a gust of wind. Puff! The sound of the long knife piercing the flesh sounded, followed by a scream, and Han Zhuang's body fell to the ground. I've been waiting for you for a long time. The true energy swayed, and the blood on the knife fell to the ground. Meng Hongfei lowered his eyebrows and looked at the body lying on the ground indifferently. In the distance, Zhang Hongji had already shown an expression of disbelief on his face. How is it possible for a Qi realm person to kill a Yuan realm person? Although Han Zhuang broke through with the help of external force and had one arm cut off, he was still a Yuan realm person, but he was killed by Meng Hongfei, who was in the Qi realm. Meng Hongfei's strength was so strong that it was completely beyond Zhang Hongji's expectations. No matter how much he couldn't believe it, the scene just now clearly told him that Meng Hongfei killed Han Zhuang, who was in the Yuan realm, with the strength of the Qi realm. This Meng Hongfei is indeed a martial arts academy prodigy who was promoted to the Star Hall 3 years after entering the sect. Recognizing this, Zhang Hongji's previous unhappiness suddenly dissipated. Hey, I originally wanted to ask him if he had any accomplices, but I didn't expect. Lin Chen walked over and looked at Meng Hongfei, who looked indifferent, with a helpless look. With his strength, if he really wanted to kill Han Zhuang, the first knife would not be his arm. He prepared the second knife to make Han Zhuang completely incapable of action, and then interrogate him about his accomplices and the evil cult forces he belonged to. Unexpectedly, Han Zhuang had enough energy to dodge, and was finally killed by Meng Hongfei. This matter was somewhat unexpected to him, but it was harmless. Their mission this time was mainly to verify whether the government of Yunshui County was infiltrated by the evil cult. Now that it has been verified and the main culprit has been killed, they can find other hidden evil cult spies by following the clues. At present, the task of the patrol department is almost completed, and only the finishing work is left, which can be handled by the Yunshui County government. Next, they need to continue to complete the tasks of the Martial Academy. Thinking of this, Lin Chen said to Zhang Hongji, Zhang County Magistrate, let's sit down and talk. Okay. In this way, Lin Chen and Zhang Hongji, one after the other, returned to the platform and discussed. And Meng Hongfei put away the long knife, looked at the frightened boys and girls, and shouted coldly, "The little episode just now is over, let's continue the next assessment." Yes, Lu Yun and others recovered from their previous shock and reformed at the fastest speed. At this moment, their eyes were filled with envy and admiration when they looked at Meng Hongfei. This senior brother who was not much older than them, the figure of killing a Yuanhua realm warrior with the true Qi realm, if nothing unexpected happened, would remain deeply in their memory. The second assessment is the root bone test. After Lu Yun and others stood in line again, Meng Hongfei said loudly, his voice mixed with true energy, echoing throughout the square. Root bone test. Lu Yun was immediately interested. He was very interested in things that could test root bones. On the way to Yunshui County, when Lu Kangsheng talked about root bones, he said that only special treasures and martial artists with a high enough martial arts realm could know a person's root bones. Now, he can finally see the treasure that can test root bones. At the same time, he also wants to know what level his 5-star root bones are among the more than 1,000 boys and girls who participated in the Martial Arts Academy assessment. Because my realm is low, I can't know your root bones, so this assessment will be tested by the root bone stone. After the words fell, Meng Hongfei waved his sleeves, and a flash of light appeared, and a round stone suddenly appeared on the table. It's not a stone, but it's better to say it's a special jade, the size of a human head, translucent, and white in color. The root bone determines the upper limit of a warrior and the speed of cultivation. Therefore, the higher the root bone, the greater the possibility of becoming a martial arts academy disciple, and the lower the root bone, the lower the martial arts potential. If the root bone stone test shows that it is lower than 2 stars or there is no root bone, it will be eliminated directly. If the root bone is detected to be above 5 stars, not only can you directly become a martial arts academy disciple, but you can also get extraordinary rewards after joining the sect. Meng Hongfei smiled lightly, without the coldness of killing the Yuanhua realm warrior with one sword. I can reveal to you first that the higher the root bone, the richer the reward. 5-star root bone, you can get 3 bottles of body tempering pills and 1 bottle of meridian opening pills. Hearing this, many young men in the square were shocked and their eyes were hot. The body tempering pill is the main resource for warriors to practice when they enter the martial arts realm. It can temper the body and greatly develop the potential of warriors. Only when the body is tempered to the limit when entering the martial arts realm can more meridians be opened after the meridian opening realm. Tongmei Dan is the main cultivation resource in Tongmei realm, which can speed up the speed and efficiency of warriors opening up meridians and is particularly precious. Most of them, like Lu Yun, come from various villages and towns in Yunshui County. Their daily cultivation depends entirely on their own sweat, and they cannot afford to buy pills or natural treasures to take for cultivation. Now, as long as they are detected to have 5-star roots, they can get the cultivation resources they have always dreamed of, which makes them shocked and yearning. 3 bottles of tempering pills and 1 bottle of Tongmei Dan. Lu Yun's eyes sparkled, and he couldn't help but clench his fists. Unlike others, Lu Yun has an attribute panel and has long known that he has a 5-star root bone. Therefore, he must get the reward for the 5-star root bone. Just when a group of young people were rubbing their hands, imagining that they would make a big splash and detect the 5-star root bone, Meng Hongfei's voice mixed with true energy rang again, suppressing all the discussions and heartbeats. 6-star root bone, you can get 5 bottles of body tempering pills and 3 bottles of meridian opening pills. 7-star root bone. At this point, Meng Hongfei shook his head slightly. I don't think there are 7-star and above root bones among you. Okay, line up and come up for the test one by one. Xiao Chen was at the front of the queue, so he was the first to go forward for the test. He pressed his palm on it, and the root bone stone instantly emitted a green light. As time passed, the color gradually changed and finally turned into dark green. Xiao Chen, 5-star top root bone. Suck. Suddenly, many people took a breath. Most of them didn't know what 5-star top root bone meant, but the assessment reward Meng Hongfei mentioned earlier was enough to explain everything. After detecting that he was a 5-star top root bone, Xiao Chen's face remained the same, without any change. 5-star top root bone, not bad, not bad. Meng Hongfei was in a good mood. 5-star root bones appeared in the area. He was responsible for the assessment. After returning to the sect, he could also get a lot of contribution points. Since Xiao Chen has a 5-star top physique, my physique must not be weak. I must have a 5-star physique. The 16 young men who came out of Tenglong restaurant were all full of confidence and stepped forward one by one. They also came from Tenglong restaurant and were known as the most powerful group of geniuses in Yunshui County. They were highly expected by everyone. He Ji, 3-star top physique. How is it possible? How can I be a 3-star top physique? I am one of the top geniuses in Yunshui County. He Ji was a little incoherent, and his eyes completely lost their spirit. Mu Qingyan, 3-star ordinary physique. The young man in a blue shirt looked at the red light emanating from the physique stone with disbelief. This scene was also seen by Lu Yun and others. Lu Yun knew this person. It was Mu Qingyan who had a verbal conflict with them in front of the inn in the past. It turned out to be him, but his talent is just like that. Lu Liangpeng curled his lips and said with some disdain. Lu Tianyu didn't take Lu Liangpeng's disdain seriously, but he thought to himself, even Mu Qingyan only has 3-star physique, so shouldn't our physique be even lower? Chen Tianqi, 4-star top physique. Xin Pengyan, 4-star ordinary physique. Lin Ziyuan, 3-star top physique. Not long after, the physique tests of the teenagers who walked out of Tenglong restaurant were all completed. They were indeed the geniuses of Yunshui County, and their physiques were not lower than 3 stars. However, no one with 5-star physique appeared. After this comparison, everyone realized how extraordinary Xiao Chen's 5-star top-level root bone was. At the same time, it also forced most people to re-examine themselves. Meng Hongfei praised Xiao Chen when he tested out 5-star root bones, and then he remained expressionless, as if he had expected the results of everyone's root bone tests. These teenagers didn't know how rare 5-star root bones were, but as a martial arts academy disciple, he was very clear about it. 4-star root bones were considered good in the martial arts academy, top-level root bones were barely excellent, and 5-star root bones could be called geniuses. As for the 5-star top-level root bones, they were at the top level among the disciples recruited by each martial arts academy. There were not many 6-star root bones, which were even rarer, in the entire martial arts academy. Next, after the dozen genius teenagers finished the test, other teenagers began to come forward for the test one after another. Yang Kai, 2-star ordinary root bone. Zhang Fadada, 1-star root bone, eliminated. Wang Liang, 2-star top root bone. Xu Wenfei, 2-star ordinary root bone. Li Feng, no root bone, eliminated. Zhou Xingxing, 1-star top root bone, eliminated. Sure enough, the root bones of these young people are not very good. Except for a few people with 3-star root bones, most of them are 1-star and 2-star root bones. What's more, there are no root bones at all. No matter how hard these people try, the limit of their whole life is to temper their bodies to a certain degree and barely become a martial artist in the martial realm. The limit of a lifetime is to become a martial artist in the martial realm, which is no different from the complete severance of the martial arts path. Originally came with beautiful expectations, but in the end found that not only could not enter the martial arts academy, but even the dream of martial arts was completely ended. This has to be said to be a huge blow. After the people in front of him finished the test one after another, Lu Liangpeng walked up with 7 points of expectation and 3 points of trepidation. As expected, the root bone stone changed, flashing a faint yellow light. Lu Liangpeng, 2-star ordinary root bone. 2-star ordinary root bone is very bad for those geniuses, but for most people, it is an unattainable existence. Lu Liangpeng knew that he also belonged to the category of ordinary people. After knowing that he had 2-star root bone, his face was filled with a happy smile. One step closer to the martial arts academy. He clenched his fist, then turned to Lu Tianyu and Lu Yun behind him and said, "Come on, I'll wait for you. I can do it too." Lu Tianyu secretly cheered himself up and walked up. Like Lu Liangpeng, after his hand was placed on the root bone stone, the root bone stone emitted a faint yellow light, which was slightly deeper than Lu Liangpeng's, which proved that he still belonged to the category of 2-star ordinary root bone. Hee. Lu Tianyu was as happy as a child, and raised his fist in the direction of Lu Yun, signaling him to cheer up. Seeing this scene, Lu Yun was also happy for them in his heart. With 2-star root bones, even if they cannot enter the martial arts academy in the end, their future achievements are destined to surpass the old village chief, which will invisibly enhance the overall strength of Lingxi village. Born and raised in Lingxi, Lu Yun naturally hopes that Lingxi village will become better and better. Under the gaze of everyone, Lu Yun walked to the root bone stone with a calm face, gently placed his right hand on it, and the root bone stone emitted a faint green light. Although the green light was not as bright as Xiao Chen's before, it was incomparably dazzling compared to other people. Lu Yun, 5-star ordinary root bone. Meng Hongfei's face bloomed with a smile again, and he looked at Lu Yun deeply and nodded secretly. This person is actually a 5-star root bone. After Lu Yun left the root bone stone, the others recovered from their shock, and their faces were full of disbelief. No matter how hard they thought, they could not imagine that the second 5-star root bone would be a boy from a small mountain village. It's incredible to think about it. A young boy from a mountain village almost overwhelmed all the talented people who entered Tenglong restaurant and were known as the most outstanding talents in Yunshui County. Wow, Lu Yun, you are so amazing. Lu Liangpeng and Lu Tianyu came up at the same time, and said excitedly, if the old village chief knew that you have a 5-star root bone, they would definitely be very pleased. The children in the mountain village are the most simple. Not only do they not have any jealousy, but they are sincerely happy for Lu Yun's talent. You are not bad either. You are all 2-star roots and have the opportunity to become disciples of the Martial Arts Academy. Well, the 3 of us will enter the Martial Arts Academy together and bring glory to Lingxi village. With a slight smile, Lu Yun walked away calmly, but he was thinking secretly in his heart. Before the medicinal bath, his root bone was 4 stars. After 2 medicinal baths, the root bone turned into 5 stars. So, before the medicinal bath, were Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng only 1-star top root bones? Or is it that the reason why the root bone was improved is because they have a panel? Looking at the backs of Lu Yun and the other 2 from a distance, Mu Qingyun's face was extremely ugly. First, he was bothered by the bone matter, and then he found out that the country bumpkin he looked down on actually had a 5-star bone, far better than his 3-star bone. This huge contrast was hard for him, who claimed to be a genius, to accept. Gradually, he felt jealous and unwilling. Some people were jealous and unwilling about Lu Yun's talent, some envied him, and some treated him calmly, depending on the person. Lu Yun ignored the gazes of the people around him, and walked to a relatively quiet corner with Lu Tianyu, waiting for the next assessment. In fact, with a 5-star bone, he didn't need to participate in the next assessment and could directly become a martial arts academy disciple. But he wanted to see it, and whether he would participate in the end depended on the situation. Time passed quickly, and the sun gradually shifted from the center of the sky. The bone test of more than 1,000 people ended. Without any exception, there were only 2 5-star bones in the whole field, namely Xiao Chen, who had a top 5-star bone, and Lu Yun, who had an ordinary 5-star bone. In addition, there were 13 4-star root bones, 52 3-star root bones, and 327 2-star root bones. This means that after the root bone test, there are less than 400 people left. Moreover, this is only the second assessment. How many people will be eliminated in the unknown third assessment, and how many lucky ones will be left? With the end of the root bone test, those teenagers with only 1-star root bones and no root bones were expelled, and the lively central square became much quieter. Very good, you stayed again, and you are 1 step closer to becoming my junior brother. Meng Hongfei glanced at the people in front of him and said lightly, the last assessment is about to begin, you quickly line up in order. Soon, everyone quieted down and stood in a neat square queue as quickly as possible. Lift up the force measuring column. As Meng Hongfei's voice fell, 16 heavily armored soldiers lifted a huge stone column and put it on the ground, immediately shaking the blue stone on the ground to pieces. The entire pillar is black, about half a foot high and 3 feet in diameter. There are faint traces on the waist in front, which look a bit like the marks of fists and swords. On the right side, there is a transparent line as wide as a middle finger extending from the base to the top, and there is a scale next to the line. The scales are from 1 to 100 from bottom to top. This is a force measuring column, which is used to test strength. Meng Hongfei pointed to the strange black stone pillar in front of him and said, most of you are in the stage of entering the martial arts realm, specializing in tempering your body, improving your blood, strength, and explosive power. The last assessment is based on the strength of your body's explosive power. There are 100 scales on the force measuring column, and one scale represents 10 kilograms of explosive power. You are responsible for attacking the force measuring column with all your strength. Each person has 3 chances. If the power of the 3 explosions does not reach 50 scales, you will be eliminated. The test begins. As Meng Hongfei's voice fell, the young men began to get ready, especially Mu Qingyan and others who had stayed at Tenglong restaurant. They were all in the late stage of the martial arts realm and the peak of the martial arts realm. This last strength test was just a formality for them. However, how could they be satisfied with just a formality? Excuse me, senior brother, can you use sword skills? Mu Qingyan wanted to get back the previous dissatisfaction and unwillingness from here, so he asked tentatively. You can use any martial arts, including sword skills and boxing skills. Meng Hongfei responded. After getting an accurate response, one by one, they showed their weapons. The weapons were varied, including knives, guns, halberds, hammers, axes, etc. Xiao Chen just glanced at the force measuring column lightly, and walked out of the queue, not intending to participate in the test. He has a top 5-star root bone, and he is the only one in the Tongmei realm, so it doesn't matter whether he participates or not. In response, Meng Hongfei just nodded lightly and said nothing. The sword flashed, Mu Qingyan drew his sword and slashed with all his strength, chopping the force measuring column. With a bang, Lu Yun and others clearly saw a red light rising from the base of the force measuring column, extending along the transparent line as wide as the middle finger, and finally stopping at the scale of the word, 81. 81 scales. So strong, his explosive attack power actually reached 81 scales. Someone exclaimed. Feeling the shocked gazes of the crowd, Mu Qingyan enjoyed it very much, and seemed to have thought of something, and glanced in the direction of Lu Yun. Unfortunately, the result disappointed him. He did not find any shock or other strange expressions on Lu Yun's face. HMPH, pretending to be calm. Mu Qingyan snorted in his heart. As long as he reached 50 scales, he would pass the test. His explosive power reached 81 scales, which was 31 scales higher than the qualified line. Such a result is simply unattainable for ordinary people. In his opinion, Lu Yun was only in the middle stage of the martial arts realm, and he came from a backward and remote mountain village. He was probably even the worst second-rate martial arts. What qualifications did such a person have to ignore him? The more so, the stronger his jealousy of Lu Yun became, causing him to ignore the most important problem. Lu Yun's training time was less than 1/10 of his, and his root bone was the only 5-star root bone. Lu Yun was originally paying attention to the tests of others. Suddenly, he noticed something strange, as if he was stared at by a poisonous snake, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. After noticing it, his eyes quickly swept around, and when his sight fell to the right front, he suddenly stopped, because he saw a very familiar figure. Silver white robe, a calm expression, eyes indifferent but sharp. Xiao Chen. He has the best bones and the highest cultivation. He is undoubtedly the most dazzling among all the examinees. But at this time, he actually nodded slightly to Lu Yun. Lu Yun was a little puzzled, nodded to the other party in response, and then retracted his gaze. Lu Yun frowned slightly. That uncomfortable feeling still exists, isn't it, Xiao Chen? Immediately, he glanced around again, and his eyes met a pair of eyes. Is it him? When he saw Mu Qingyan's cold eyes, Lu Yun instantly determined where the previous uncomfortable feeling came from. This kid seems to be a little wrong. Through Mu Qingyan's eyes, Lu Yun can feel that the other party seems to have a lot of malice towards him. I have only met him once, so he won't have any ill will towards me. Lu Yun secretly laughed at himself in his heart. Do I have the legendary evil-attracting physique? After laughing at himself, he retracted his gaze and secretly remembered Mu Qingyan. So strong, he actually scored 83 scales. That one is not weak either, he scored 89 scales. Up to now, almost half of the people have completed the test. Among them, Mu Qingyan performed the best, scoring 81 scales. Now someone scored a higher scale, which immediately attracted attention. 91 scales. As the test progressed, Someone finally broke through the 90 scale mark. Lu Yun glanced at the young man and knew that the other party was one of the previous owners of Tenglong restaurant. Next, Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng were tested one by one. Both of them used 3 chances, but they did not reach 50 scales and walked back in great frustration. In this regard, Lu Yun did not know how to comfort them and could only choose to remain silent. Sometimes, for frustrated people, the best comfort is to do nothing. Walking out of frustration by yourself is better than any comfort, and it is the fastest way to grow. I have decided, since I can't become a martial arts student, I will join the army and start from the lowest level of soldiers. In the square, Lu Liangpeng raised his head and looked at the sun gradually setting in the west, and the whole person was full of vigor. Looking at Lu Liangpeng's face that was radiating glory again, Lu Tianyu smiled slightly, and at the same time strengthened his determination in his heart. 3 teenagers from Lingxi village greeted the warm sunset, each with their own thoughts. In the square, their shadows were very long. He had a vague feeling in his mind about his explosive power, which was about 800 kilograms. In the middle stage of entering the martial arts realm, he has such explosive power, which is already considered excellent. However, this is compared with the many young people in Yunshui County who participated in the assessment. After a while, the test officially ended. Lu Yun finally chose not to participate in the test. He had enough experience before and he didn't want to continue to be in the limelight. Of course, it might not be because there is no reward for this last assessment. The end of the strength test means that the assessment is over. More than 1,300 people participated in the assessment at the beginning, but only 105 people persisted to the end. Among these 105 people, there are 2 5-star root bones, 13 4-star root bones, 53-star root bones, and 42-star root bones. Among them, only 26 were not formal warriors. However, they are only one step away from entering the martial arts realm, and only have one opportunity to break through. Everyone, you are very lucky to have passed the final assessment and become a member of the Martial Arts Academy. Meng Hongfei glanced at everyone and said, "Gather here again in 3 days and come with me to the Martial Arts Academy." 3 days later, everyone was surprised. Every time there is an assessment for a new disciple in the Martial Arts Academy, Xuanzhou will be sent to each county to receive the new disciple. Yunshui County is the last battle, so you need to wait for 3 days. After Meng Hongfei explained something, he added, "No matter what happens, don't be absent, otherwise it will be regarded as automatically giving up becoming a martial arts disciple." "Okay, let's go our separate ways." Meng Hongfei waved his sleeves and walked towards Lin Chen and Zhang Hongji. "How's it going? Are there any better seedlings?" Lin Chen seemed to have done a good job with Zhang Hongji. Lin Chen was in a good mood. After seeing Meng Hongfei, he asked with a smile, "It's not bad. I have 2 5-star root bones. I can get a good amount of contribution points when I go back." "Oh, that's a double happiness." After some casual politeness, Lin Chen, Meng Hongfei, and Zhang Hongji left the central square. "Village chief, I'm sorry, we failed the assessment and let you down." Lu Tianyu and Lu Liangpeng shrugged their heads, not daring to look into Lu Kengsheng's old and wise eyes. Lu Kengsheng shook his head slightly, with a loving smile on his face. "My child, gains and losses are not important. What is important is whether you work hard and try. It is already a great honor for Lingxi village to have a martial arts disciple. Moreover, Lu Yun is still a 5-star genius and is a top genius even in the martial arts academy." After some pleasantries, Lu Kang suggested, "Let's go back and prepare a table of good food to celebrate Lu Yun." Lu Kangsheng naturally agreed with this. It's worth celebrating. After the old village chief spoke, everyone found a restaurant and ordered a table of delicious dishes. During the dinner, Lu Liangpeng expressed his intention to join the army, and everyone agreed. Young people must dare to think and dare to venture. Only in this way will they not waste their years. When asked about Lu Tianyu, he said seriously, "I have had a dream since I was a child, that is, the villagers of Lingxi village will be safe from disasters, so I want to go back, join the hunting team, and contribute to the defense of Lingxi village." After hearing Lu Tianyu's words, everyone was silent for a while. Especially when Lu Liangpeng thought of his previous prejudice against Lu Tianyu, he instantly felt ashamed. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Yunshui County Central Square. Numerous black armors guard this place and no one else is allowed to approach the square. Lu Yun, even if you enter the martial arts academy, I will never give up chasing you. Lu Liangpeng's eyes flashed and he spoke solemnly. Lu Yun smiled and nodded. Okay, I wish you a prosperous martial arts. Then he looked at Lu Tianyu and said with a smile, I also wish you a prosperous martial arts. Lu Tianyu waved his hand and said slowly, take care of yourself. Lu Yun, after entering the martial arts academy, you must remember your initial identity. You are from Lingxi village. No matter how far you grow in the future, don't forget that your roots are in Lingxi village. Before leaving, Lu Kangsheng gave meaningful instructions. Village chief, don't worry. Lu Yun responded and resolutely turned around and walked towards the square. At this time, more than 100 energetic young people and girls gathered in the square. Humph, just because you have a little talent, you let so many of us wait for you. Came a cold mocking voice. Aha! Lu Yun's eyes flashed with 2 gleams, and he looked towards the speaker, and found that the other person was Mu Qingyan, who impressed him deeply. Why is it so impressive? Because compared to the faces of others, Mu Qingyan is the only one whose name and appearance Lu Yun can remember. As for the other one, it was Xiao Chen, the swordsman genius. At this moment, Xiao Chen stood expressionless with his hands behind his back. There was no one around him, and his eyes were looking at the sky in the distance calmly, as if he was not interested in anything else. Clown. Lu Yun snorted coldly, ignored the other party, and walked towards a deserted corner. You. After hearing Lu Yun's taunt, Mu Qingyan straightened up and became angry, his eyes spitting fire. Lu Yun, don't be arrogant. Bones cannot represent strength. Now I can defeat you with one move. Mu Qingyan said loudly with an angry expression. He hated Lu Yun's behavior of not taking him seriously. For him, who had always been proud, this was undoubtedly a trample on his dignity and a serious insult. Wow! As Mu Qingyan finished speaking, everyone else looked like they were watching the fun. Many people are extremely curious about Lu Yun, the second genius in Yunshui County. Anyway, I am idle now. It would be great if I could see the opponent's strength. It's a pity to disappoint them. Lu Yun didn't pay attention at all, but looked towards the distant sky like Xiao Chen. Boom! At this moment, a black shadow suddenly appeared in the distant sky, and then quickly enlarged, and soon the entire sky suddenly darkened. A very large and magnificent ship broke through the clouds and landed several feet above the ground, covering the clouds. Day. So magnificent. Lu Yun's heart trembled. This was the first time he had seen such a huge spaceship. Its scale and grandeur were not much different from the aircraft carrier of Blue Star in the previous life. I heard that this mysterious ark not only has a large load capacity, but also flies extremely fast. It is a super large strategic resource. Ordinary people and families are not allowed to make or use it. One of the teenagers seemed to understand this quite well, full of envy. If I can own such a profound ark, the world is so big that I can fly around it. Lu Yun thought to himself. However, he was just thinking about it. If he really had such a profound ark, the first thing he would do was replace it with various heavenly materials and earthly treasures and elixirs, and then convert it into energy points. Brother Lin, I kept you waiting for so long. On the mysterious boat, Ji Yu Qingfeng, who was wearing a green robe, stood on the bow of the boat and looked down, looking behind Lu Yun and others. The roaring sound echoed in all directions. Around him, there were also dozens of young people standing, each with a different demeanor and temperament. Behind the Zan Ark, there were more than 1,000 boys and girls. They gathered into more than a dozen large groups, and each large group was divided into small groups. Haha, Brother Ji Yu looks good. It seems that he has gained a lot from this trip. A cheerful voice sounded, and then the figures of Lin Chen and Meng Hongfei flew through the air and landed on the mysterious ark. Brother Lin is joking. I was just lucky enough to meet 2 5-star ordinary root bones. I can't compare with that guy Yun Bufan. He met 3 5-star root bones in Lufeng County, and one of them was even a top 5-star root bone. Root bone. Although Ji Yu Qingfeng said this, the smile on his face was not less. Recruiting 1 5-star root bone is a big gain for him, let alone recruiting 2 5-star root bones. Brother Yun is very lucky. You must treat us when you return to the martial arts academy. Lin Chen's eyes fell on one of the young men in blue robes. This person was none other than Yun Bufin, who, like Lin Chen, was a genius who entered the Hall of Stars. Absolutely, Yun Bufin said very generously. Then, Lin Chen greeted the others one by one. Meng Hongfei, on the other hand, always had a cold face, which seemed out of place with the harmonious atmosphere of everyone. Everyone, come up. After finishing his polite remarks, Lin Chen looked at Lu Yun and others below and said loudly. Whoosh, whoosh. The Zan Arc was only a few feet above the ground. Such a height was naturally difficult for the geniuses from Yunshui County. They jumped up one by one and boarded the Zan Arc. After seeing the many teenagers gathered into more than a dozen groups, the geniuses from Yunshui County automatically gathered in a corner and vaguely formed a group. Regarding this scene, Lin Chen, Ji Yu Qingfeng and others smiled slightly, not surprised. They have also experienced this scene, but as time goes by, the original regional groups will gradually disappear. In Wuyuan, strength is everything. Let's go. After everyone stood firm, the Xuanzhou slowly rose, broke through the clouds, and flew into the distance. Hey, I don't know how many of these guys can become strong. Yunshui County hasn't had a strong man above the Truchi realm for a long time. One who appeared has also become a cult member. On a high platform in the central square, Zhang Hongji stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the gradually disappearing Xuanzhou from afar. However, Yunshui County now has no county lieutenant, and my responsibility is even greater. Thinking of this, Zhang Hongji felt a little worried. If there is another beast-tide riot in Yunmeng Mountain, it will be troublesome. I have to report it to the higher-ups as soon as possible. Boom boom. The Xuanzhou in the air broke through the airwaves and moved forward rapidly, and the mountains and rivers below kept retreating. On the plywood, the boys and girls from various counties in Lingwu County were each in their own camp, and at the same time they were carefully looking at each other. Lu Yun noticed that no matter which group, there were always a few mavericks. They have an inexplicable temperament, and the people around them become their foils. There are no less than 10 people in the Tongmei realm like Xiao Chen on this Xuanzhou, but I don't know what their roots are like. Is there any 6-star root bone among them? Lu Yun whispered to himself, thinking in his heart. There are so many people in Yunshui County, and the most outstanding ones are only 5-star top roots, which shows that 6-star roots are rare. No matter what, I have a panel, and my cultivation speed and potential cannot be simply measured by roots, so I don't have to care too much. After observing for a while, Lu Yun gave up, started to sit cross-legged, and began to practice. After practicing for a few days, his Hunyuan Gong has made further progress, and the progress has increased to 57%. At this rate, it only takes 2 months for Hunyuan Gong to be successful and promoted to the late stage of Wujing. Of course, this is the slowest promotion speed. If energy points are used, this time will be greatly reduced. The Xuanzhou quickly left Yunshui County and flew quickly towards the distance. Lu Yun was immersed in practice, and time passed quickly. Boom! Suddenly, Lu Yun felt his body shake and came out of his training state. We have arrived at the Martial Arts Academy, everyone prepare to disembark. A loud voice sounded, and everyone on the Xuanzhou started to move. Lu Yun opened his eyes, stood up, and looked forward. An endless mountain range appeared in his sight, as if a dragon was hovering over the earth. In the mountains and forests, clusters of buildings were looming, and light clouds were floating, rendering it like a fairyland on earth. Is this Filing Martial Arts Academy? It is actually located in a mountain range. Lu Yun was shocked. Before, he thought that Filing Martial Arts Academy should be established in the capital city of Lingwu County, but he didn't expect it to be far away from the capital city and located in the mountains. Under the leadership of Lin Chen and others, Lu Yun and other new disciples of the Martial Arts Academy jumped off the Xuanzhou and came to a square. In the square, the elders who received them were already waiting here. Ji Yu Qingfeng, Yun Bufin, Lin Chen, why did you guys come just now? You made me wait for more than an hour. Song Gaojun, who had a stubble on his face and a rough voice, shouted. If you don't find some good seedlings, don't blame me for making you wait. As he spoke, he looked at the new disciples of the Martial Arts Academy. When he saw that Xiao Chen and a dozen others had been promoted to the Tongmei realm, he nodded slightly and urged. Yes, it seems that there should be quite a few good seedlings. Hurry up and give me their information to see what the composition of this batch of new disciples is like. Ji Qingfeng took out the registration book and pretended to be pitiful and said, Elder Song, don't blame me. Beishan County is remote and there are no good seedlings. I only have 2 5-star ordinary roots. Song Jiaoyan's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he rudely snatched the booklet from Ji Qingfeng's hand and flipped through it. Haha, in that ghost place of Beishan County, there are actually 2 5-star roots. You are quite lucky, you deserve a reward. Ahem, Elder Song, what do you want to reward me? Ji Qingfeng rolled his eyes and said flatteringly. Go to the Internal Affairs Hall to receive the reward yourself. This old man can't afford it. After that, Song Gaojun ignored him and took the registration book from Yun Bufan. Wow, Lufeng County is good. Not only does it have 3 5-star roots, but one of them is also a top 5-star root bone. Song Gaojun closed the registration book, looked at the new disciples of the Martial Arts Academy, and said loudly, Who is Ma Yunfei? After the voice fell, the eyes of the new disciples of the Martial Arts Academy from Lufeng County all looked at one place. Lu Yun also looked in the direction of those people, and saw a young man standing proudly, with a handsome appearance, extraordinary temperament, and bright eyes, as if there were brilliant stars. He bowed slightly to Song Gaojun and said, Ma Yunfei from Lufeng County, I meet Elder Song. Ma Yunfei's voice was steady, his face was calm, and his demeanor was extraordinary. 5-star top physique, not bad. Song Gaojun nodded slightly. From this moment on, the name Ma Yunfei will be deeply imprinted in everyone's mind. 5-star top physique, for the new disciples of the Martial Arts Academy present, is definitely an unreachable mountain. Ma Yunfei, may be a good opponent. Xiao Chen whispered to himself in the team of new disciples of Yunshui County Martial Arts. At the same time, in the teams of other counties, a wave of fighting spirit rose. Obviously, those people are all 5-star geniuses, and they are very interested in Ma Yunfei, who has a 5-star top-level root bone. Feeling the strong fighting spirit, Ma Yunfei smiled lightly and didn't care. It seems that they are all a bunch of kids, they can't help it so soon. Lu Yun smiled slightly, completely forgetting that he seemed to be the youngest among these people. As if he thought the opening was pretty good, Song Gaojun did not check the registration books of the county assessments one by one, but directly said loudly, Have you recruited 6-star root bones or above? Lin Chen and others were all silent. It was not easy to recruit 5-star root bones. 6-star root bones can only be encountered by very lucky people. After a short silence, a man with a cold expression came over. Report to Elder Song, I recruited a 6-star root bone in Dashan County. The cold man said. What? When this was said, everyone was surprised and looked at the cold man with envy. 6-star physiques are rare, and they haven't recruited one in several years. Even the current filing Martial Academy only has 8 6-star physiques. Lu Yun was also slightly surprised that among their batch of new disciples in the Martial Academy, there was actually someone with a 6-star physique talent. Could it be him? Song Gaojun pondered for a moment, and slowly looked at a young man. The young man stood in the crowd, as if the stars were holding the moon. When he found that Song Jiaoyan's eyes were on him, he raised his head and smiled slightly. This boy is Bai Haoshuan, with a 6-star physique, currently in the middle stage of Tongmei realm. The indifferent man introduced. Hiss. A new disciple of the Martial Academy took a breath of cold air, and looked closely at the smiling Bai Haoshuan. 6-star physique, middle stage of Tongmei realm. Any one of them is enough to make him famous among many new disciples of the Martial Academy. What's more, he occupies 2 of them. Bai Haoshuan. Lu Yun glanced at the other person and found that this person was a little special. Xiao Chen and other 5-star geniuses were standing alone in a corner, with no one around them. But Bai Haoshuan was different. He was surrounded by many people, as if they were his followers. They started to form cliques before entering the Martial Arts Academy. Such people are very scheming and worth paying attention to. With Bai Haoshuan, a 6-star genius, the quality of the new disciples of this Martial Arts Academy has improved overall. As the elder who received them, Song Gaojun was naturally happy and stopped asking other 5-star geniuses. He began to lecture. First of all, congratulations on passing the assessment and becoming a member of my filing Martial Academy. But you must remember that becoming a disciple of Filing Martial Academy does not mean that you will transform from now on and become a superior person. To achieve real transformation, you can only continuously improve and break through. Song Jaehyun's voice resounded in the square. Except for the new disciples with 5-star physique, everyone else will be treated as ordinary disciples of the Martial Arts Academy from today onwards and enjoy the same treatment as ordinary disciples. Take them away. Song Gaojun waved his hand, and several Martial Arts Academy teachers came over and took away more than 1,000 new disciples. Lu Yun looked around and found that among the new disciples, including him, there were still 23 left. Looking at the remaining 23 people, Song Gaojun smiled and continued, "You all have talents of 5-star roots and above. According to the previous rules, you can get corresponding rewards after entering the academy, and you can directly skip ordinary disciples and become elite disciples. But don't be too happy too early. Elite disciples are just like this in Filing Martial Academy. The authority and training registration are not high. Moreover, if you don't make progress for a long time, the authority and registration will also decrease, and you will be demoted to ordinary disciples." Lu Yun's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. Even if he became a disciple of the Martial Academy, he still faced great pressure. After the lecture, Song Gaojun ordered Lu Yun and others to leave the square and come to a valley. This valley is very open, with a lot of courtyards, which are a certain distance away from each other. This is where you elite disciples live. You can choose any place between courtyards 3051 and 3100 as your own residence. As for your rewards, someone will deliver them within 2 days. You work hard. I hope that some of you can get rid of the status of elite disciples as soon as possible and become disciples of a higher level. Then you will find that the Yuan dynasty is very exciting and the martial arts world is even more exciting." After encouraging him, Song Gaojun floated away. The reward didn't come in the first place. Lu Yun didn't care about Song Jaehyun's words, but thought about his own reward. As Song Gaojun left, more than 20 talented teenagers walked towards the courtyard. Lu Yun randomly selected a courtyard with a door number of 3081. Entering the room, he found that the layout was very simple. There were only a few chairs besides a bed. Some martial arts academy disciple supplies were neatly placed on the bed, including 2 sets of clothes and 2 booklets. "Hey, there are also books." Lu Yun immediately became interested and flipped through the books. The first book was the Disciple Manual of Filing Martial Academy. After quickly reading it, Lu Yun wrote it down roughly. The manual contained the rules of Filing Martial Academy and the benefits and responsibilities that disciples enjoyed. The rules were very simple, similar to the school rules of Blue Star in the previous life, such as respecting the elderly and loving the young, not killing each other, not having any involvement with cults, etc. In addition, it also introduced the division of disciples of Filing Martial Academy. The lowest level was ordinary disciples, followed by elite disciples, and above them were disciples of the Star Hall and the highest level of disciples of the Moon Hall. In addition, in the Martial Arts Academy, every disciple must pass through the Wanxiang Tower once. The Wanxiang Tower has a total of 30 floors. It is a magical spiritual weapon. It is also one of the foundations of the Martial Arts Academy and is of immeasurable value. As far as Lu Yun knows, ordinary weapons are divided into real weapons and mysterious weapons. The giant ship he took before was a mysterious weapon. He guessed that above the mysterious weapon, it is very likely to be a spiritual weapon. The knife I have on me may be the worst ordinary weapon. Looking at the knife beside him, Lu Yun couldn't help but smile bitterly, and then his attention returned to the disciple manual. Since becoming a martial arts academy disciple, you have to pass a level of the Wanxiang Tower every year. Before the 10th level, if you fail to pass a level of the Wanxiang Tower for 2 consecutive years, your level and training level will automatically be reduced by 1 level. If you fail to pass a level of the Wanxiang Tower for 3 consecutive years, you will be expelled from the Martial Arts Academy. Of course, as long as you become a Martial Arts Academy disciple, even if you are expelled from the Martial Arts Academy, you will still be very popular in the Yuan dynasty. This incentive method is quite good. Closing the disciple manual, Lu Yun couldn't help but be curious again. What kind of place is the Wanxiang Tower? However, he has just entered the Martial Arts Academy and the reward has not yet been received. The matter of breaking into the Wanxiang Tower has to be put aside. Soon, Lu Yun looked at another book that was neither thick nor thin. Pure Yang Gangchi. Lu Yun's eyes immediately glared. Pure Yang Gangchi, just hearing the name, is very high-end. At least from the name, it is 10 times or 100 times more domineering than the Broken Wind Sword Technique, Thunder Fist, and 8 Extreme Collapse. In fact, Pure Yang Gangchi is indeed several levels higher than the Broken Wind Sword Technique, because it is a first-class martial art, and it is the most top-notch first-class martial art. When a warrior is promoted to the Tongmei realm, he will start to open the meridians in his body and generate true qi. The more meridians are opened, the stronger the true qi and the greater the potential. General first-class martial arts can open 5 to 6 meridians at most. Advanced first-class martial arts are slightly better and can open 7 to 8 meridians. The top first-class martial arts can open 9 meridians. After opening 9 meridians, the true qi of a Tongmei realm warrior is already very strong. However, when Pure Yang Gangchi is cultivated to the highest level, it can help Tongmei realm warriors open 12 meridians. It's really a pillow when you are sleepy. Lu Yun excitedly flipped through the Pure Yang Gangchi. In his opinion, Filing Martial Arts Academy could put such a precious first-class martial arts on the bed casually, either because they were rich or they valued their elite disciples very much. Hiss. It is indeed the top first-class martial arts. Although the content is not much, it took Lu Yun 3 hours to memorize it. Name: Lu Yun. Affiliation: Filing Martial Arts Academy. Martial Arts: Perfection of Broken Wind Sword Technique cannot be upgraded. Minor success of Hunyuan Gong 58%. Pure Yang Gangchi not yet entered. Root Bone: 5 stars. Martial Arts: Entering the middle stage of martial arts. Energy points: 0.3. Opening the panel again, it turned out that there was indeed a change. A new martial art appeared in the martial arts column, which was Pure Yang Gangchi. The minimum requirement for practicing Pure Yang Gangchi is that the warrior advances to the Tongmei realm and generates true qi in the body. Now, Lu Yun is only in the middle stage of the martial arts realm and cannot practice Pure Yang Gangchi, so he can only put it aside temporarily. I have to hurry up and practice and grow up in the shortest time. Thinking of Meng Hongfei's terrifying knife in Yunshui County and Lin Chen's extremely cold true essence that froze everything, Lu Yun suddenly felt a strong sense of urgency. So, after he tidied up the room casually, he sat cross-legged on the bed and practiced. With a 5-star root bone, he was already very talented. In addition, he had a panel and could feel his progress at any time, so he was full of energy to practice. Time passed in a flash, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Small success of Hunyuan Gong, 60%. Seeing the updated information on the panel, Lu Yun couldn't help showing some joy on his face. This feeling of feeling his own progress and growth at any time made him very intoxicated. Knock knock. At this moment, Lu Yun suddenly heard a knock on the door, and at the same time a voice came from outside the courtyard. Junior brother Lu Yun, your reward has been delivered, please come out and see it. Lu Yun was startled when he heard the words, and then a touch of excitement appeared on his face. The long-awaited reward is finally in hand. 3 bottles of body tempering pills, 1 bottle of meridian opening pills, such a generous reward, just thinking about it makes people tremble. Squeak. Lu Yun went out and opened the courtyard door, and found a chubby boy standing outside the door, dressed luxuriously, with a pair of eyes almost narrowed into a slit. Junior brother Lu Yun, I really admire you. You have been practicing hard for 2 days since entering the martial arts academy, and you haven't even gone out for a walk. The fat boy, who was almost round, walked into the yard very naturally, looked around casually, and said in amazement, "Oh, you haven't even had time to clean up the yard. I really don't know what to say to you." Lu Yun could only smile awkwardly, but his eyes were fixed on the other party, wanting to see where his reward was. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.